Let's see. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Let's go. I hear you barely. Let me see if I can turn. Okay. Can you hum into your microphone? There we go. Okay, there's the mixer for the browser. Okay. So I can hear you. You can hear me? Excellent. Okay. My camera is glitching out. Give me just a second. Okay.
Also, I just realized our chats are shared, so hello, Juicebox chat.
Yep. Everyone say hi to Bestofvshow. This. So we're going to just go over Virtua Fighter fundamentals. I might need to be cameraless because my camera's glitching out today. Let's see. Let me turn up the audio as well, and let me get very low game audio. Let's see. One more audio check. One more audio check.
Alright, I'm almost there myself. I think all I need to do is mute that, and I think... Can you speak real quick?
Yeah, I can speak. You're hearing me speaking right now.
All right, we are good.
We're good to go.
I hear you. My chat hears you, so I think we're basically set. So, hello.
Okay, awesome. So how are you? How are you doing? What's been your experience with VF so far?
So, it's been great, and I'm really glad you asked that question because I wanted to chat a little bit before we got into it. So, this is my first ever Virtual Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to play Virtual Fighter, never quite got into it. And I always felt like I kind of missed a boat on it, but then this stuff got announced, and now I'm here. And I played a little bit over the weekend, and I had a blast. But as soon as I got to, I think it was like first Dan, where like people actually knew how to play. Then like that was the end of my experience basically.
Right.
Which is why I contacted you, because I was needing some help getting some stuff picked up, or picking up on a couple of things here and there. And I'm really happy you decided to take me up on this lesson thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And
awesome.
I just want you to know. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, for free. This is your time. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no. I just want you to know that, and chat, both my chat and your chat. This all goes for y'all. When Street Fighter V was coming out, I almost exclusively watched you learn the game, and then made it out of pools for the first time in my FGC career.
Ah, congrats.
At Final Round 2016, and then at Evo, and then like all that stuff. So I specifically wanted to talk up to you about this because I've seen you talk so much about Virtual Fighter, and after experiencing myself learning a game alongside you, I think our brains learn very similarly. So this is why I'm coming to you, the expert.
Okay. Well,
on both teaching and learning.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, I remember Street Fighter V. I think I stopped playing right in the early bits of Season 2. It just didn't wet my whistle.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, getting out of pools is it's a good experience. You start to get a feel for like what the higher echelons of the skill are like. Like you got out of pools, and then what happened next match, right?
Oh yeah. What was funny is I played against some guy named Ace Unlimited, and I thought for the longest time I played somebody named Ace King Offsuit, who was the co-host of Best of Five a while back. So I always had like this like in the back of my mind like hate for him, and then later, like I'm talking like 3 years later, I found out it was a different person.
And see that's that offline thing too. You end up meeting these people. Sometimes you're online rivals, sometimes completely new people you didn't know were good, and just the whole experience transforms. So everyone in both chats, make sure to go to your offlines if you got one. Go to your local, sign up for the tournaments. The whole fighting game experience changes once you sit next to the guy and give him a fist bump.
Yeah, and if you don't know where your locals are, the best place to go to right now to find that is Ultra David compiled a list of like 500 locals.
Yeah, the Ultra David list.
So you can go check. There on, I think it's on his Twitter and on his Blue Sky as well.
Yep. If any of you are in the Phoenix, Arizona area, let me know. I'll hook you up. Okay, so what's the best way to go about this? Are you maybe watching my stream and I'll just do some stuff in training mode, you'll follow along, or what would be the best way? Maybe we should start a room and we could sort of...
Yeah, let's start a room.
Okay.
And let's play a game so you can teach me what I don't know.
Okay.
And then we can get into it. How's that? Just so like we can shake off the cobwebs a little bit because I just sat down.
Sure. Let's see. I'm gonna make a room with no spectators. I need you to join quickly since everyone can see this.
Okay, I'm ready.
The passcode is 6969. Let's see if you can find me.
6969.
If you search rooms, I should be near the top.
69. Wait. Mine has 5 numbers. Am I like looking at the wrong?
No, you're searching a room ID when you do that. Just do
okay. Okay. Let's see. Well, I'm clearly already terrible at this. There we go. Got it. Okay. Enter as a player. I think I did it. Hooray!
Sweet.
I guess this is the good part about not being big streamers.
So far. We'll see. Okay, so yeah, just play. I'll figure out some of your tendencies and so on. We'll see where to go. Is Shundi sort of the character you've decided to main, or just sort of you're feeling him out for now, or?
I just kind of picked him because I thought he was funny, and then I really like his down back punch button. That's kind of why I've been playing him. Just that button.
Good old 1P. All right. Okay. Stop it. Okay. Hopefully my stick noises are not too loud.
Oh, no, it's good.
Okay.
So you're finding problem number 1.
Well, it depends.
I don't know how the throw system works.
There we go. Yeah, we will get there. Nice. Okay. I missed it. Okay. There we go. What you'll probably notice
while we're here.
Go ahead.
Let me just ask you this. Sidestepping. I'm coming from playing Tekken previously.
There we go.
So, sidestepping in this game is very different. I've learned. Do you get like any like frame advantage or anything? Like, am I able to sidestep punish something, or is that not how this game works?
You absolutely can, but sidestepping is a digital thing, and it is a choice and a counter, which is to say, you sidestep a strike when I strike. If you tap up and I didn't strike, and then I hit a button, then I will hit you. So sidestepping is a choice you make at disadvantage, and there's a sound effect indicating that you succeeded.
Okay.
So it's sort of like if you're at disadvantage,
like
you can guard or you can evade. So like right there, I wasn't attacking, so nothing happened. You'll also notice there was no sound effect.
Okay. And the side effect is like a yeah, right? You just go yeah.
No, the sound effect is a little. It's like a whoosh sound.
Okay.
Nice. There we go.
No. You know how to play. Honestly, like that full string got me out of like the lower ranks like, by itself.
Yeah, like the fact that there's a guard button means that people will like not finish blocking strings, right? Like that little 2-hit string, you're like, I'll guard and I'll take my turn. But effectively in VF, when you start guarding a string, you need to finish defending the string. So you might need to like counter something in the middle, or you just block the whole thing. You have to decide when you want to stop defending based on when you think the string is over. And like right there, I like attacked you with a mid, and then I immediately did 2P. So that poke isn't that advantage, so it's important to take your turn with a mid whenever possible, because 2P just crouches, and so you have to, probably the first most important thing about VF is that standing jab is for something. It is for attacking high guard. So if your opponent is not high guarding, jab sucks. And instead you should just take your turn with mid. And your quick mid with Shundi and with a bunch of other characters is 6P. And then like you'll have a plan for when that's blocked or when that hits. It hits. Oop, it's blocked, I stopped. It's blocked, I stopped. Oop, went under.
Okay.
And it's these rapid fire things that you're doing. Ooh. Got it. Okay.
And that was a perfect example of the not finishing blocking a string.
Right, exactly. Whenever you start guarding a string, you have to finish guarding it. And so it's like, it makes strings feel really powerful, and they are, but they're also full of holes, is the thing. Like, almost every string is full of highs. If you have a counter or a parry, you can counter in the middle of strings. Like, the vast majority of strings do not jail. So you can evade, you can block the first hit of a string and then evade the second hit of a string. Evade and then duck, evade and then jump, and so on and so forth. So once you learn more defensive options, there's actually lots you can do while guarding. And being able to just react in time is really critical. Well, it's a skill to grow into, is what I would say. Like, you see how I avoided that 1P?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
Okay. Also, I'm assuming that the down that just played on the replay, I'm assuming that's plus, right?
That's a guard break.
Or is that like? Oh, okay. Okay.
It's Akira's infamous guard break. This is sort of what the strength of the character has always been, although this was nerfed actually, so it doesn't give as much of a reward as it used to. But Akira as a character has like very few strings, very few circulars. He is extremely focused on whether you are standing or crouch guarding, because he doesn't like have moves he can throw out to like catch different types of movement very well. But he's the only character who could just be like at about the same speed of a jab, just blow you up, just boom. That's only 1 frame slower than a jab. But it used to give him like 25%. It doesn't anymore. Nice. Punish. There you go. Okay. Ooh, got it. You can beat wake up kicks with meaty attacks depending on your timing. It's very hard, I would say.
And is the only way to roll on wake up to avoid a grounded attack when like doing the ukemi thing?
Right, so it's similar to a 2D fighter. Some knockdowns you can do a quick rise, and some knockdowns you can't. So it depends on the knockdown. A lot of throws, you don't have a chance for a ukemi. So it's sort of good Oki situation.
I did it. I threw. I'm assuming that's like a counter.
Yes. Oh, nice. So this counter with Akira, it counters high and low single punches and kicks. So if you press P or 2P, K or 2K, I get a combo off that. And luckily for you, the specific combo on Shundi is like harder to time than on other characters. And so for this matchup, I have to like adapt an easier one than the one I've been going for.
Is it like is it a character size thing?
It's a weight thing. Characters have different weights, and in the patch they actually scrunched it. There used to be like 6 weights, now there are kind of 4-ish. So they've all moved towards the middle. But that's where a lot of combo variation comes from. Like if you launch Taka and you launch Eileen, your combo is different. And this varies across the cast. And then characters within the same weight will actually have slightly different sized bodies, so they might not hit the ground at the same time. And so that's sort of one of the growing pains of learning the game, is like you have to learn for your launchers the different combos that are possible and then optimize them towards the matchups. But that's also sort of a mid to high level consideration. You can also just like have a really basic combo that works on everyone, and that's fine. But with some characters, you're leaving like a lot of damage on the table. Ooh, nice. Nice. Nice.
Also, I just want to point out, I find that more impressive that you did all that while speaking coherently. I can't do that.
Ooh, nice throw. Yep. Nice.
I won a round. I win. That's it. I'm ready.
Ooh, got it. Okay. There we go.
Man, see, like, that's automatic now. Just from like getting people with that online. Just do that full string, and I don't want to.
Had it? No. Still. Boom. And like there's an example of like if you don't quick rise, I get like a free down attack. So like whenever quick rise is an option, like paying attention to whether they quick rise or not, and then you can attack their quick rise or you can attack when they don't, it continues the RPS on the ground because you actually can't stay on the ground. If you input nothing, your character will get up.
Oh, so the wait, say that one more time. If you input nothing, your character gets up?
Yeah, over time. Like your character will get up in about 2.5,
okay.
3 seconds. So the idea is when you hit the ground, it's do I want to get up now? Or do I want to get up in a little bit, or the maximum amount of time? So you sort of have 3 wake-up timings. And since you didn't quick rise, it's like, which wake-up timing will I choose, and will I do a wake-up kick? And if I do, will it be mid or low? If I roll, will I roll up or down or away? You actually can't roll towards your opponent. It's only...
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That might be... Okay, that was one of those things that felt uncomfortable, but I didn't quite know... I couldn't quite put my finger on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so like the roll system is a little bit different. It's either foreground, background, or away. Vanessa has like a special grounded stance. Like she has an attack stance while she's on the ground. She can roll forward out of that. But the general rules of Oki, you can't actually roll forwards. Okay, so now we're sort of getting into a bunch of, tiny things that are not really the focus of what we want to do here today. So tell me, how did you feel playing that match? What was that like?
Okay, so it did feel like I got a little steamrolled. However, I think the bottom line of what I need help with the most are 3 things. And you and I spoke about this on DMs. It's the throw system, because I don't know if maybe like I'm doing or like I'm trying to break throws wrong, because I know I played the tutorial and the tutorial suggested to hold it down, right? And I'm so used to just like, like Street Fighter 4 tech, the tech OS where you just press it every time you hit.
Right, exactly.
And the get up system, that was another one of like trying to figure out how to more consistently ukemi and get up off the ground, and movement, right? Like with the sidestepping and like figuring out like, especially now that you told me that sidestepping kind of works more like an action instead of I forget exactly the wordage you used, but it made a lot of sense. It was like it's more of like a purposeful action rather than like a passive thing, kind of like in Tekken.
Yes, evasion is digital and it's pass-fail. So the thing about in Tekken, have you ever played Paul? Have you ever seen his like attack reversal? Back 1-3.
Yeah.
Evades are basically that. Okay, so we can actually start with we'll start with sidestepping and evasion. So by any chance, are you watching my stream? Can you see what I'm doing?
I'm pulling it up now.
Sure. I online training would be a great feature, Sega. I'm letting you know, online training.
Oh yeah. So right now I'm going to, is it Juicebox _FGC or Juicebox? Oh yeah, Juicebox _FGC.
Yep,
And
there you
so
go.
for those of you that haven't been to Juicebox _FGC, you should go over there and click that follow button. All right, I see your screen now.
You see it. Okay. One of the new things they added is under display settings. There's this new display all. So now you can see all of the like frame timings of my inputs. The gray number means no input, right? And then the yellow number is how long you're holding it, and so on and so on. So you can see all that, as well as the digital controller. And on the bottom left, there's things like frame data, attack advantage, and things like that. So you can see all that. So, but when it comes to sidestepping, so there's a few different ways of doing it. Like just tapping up on your controller, your character will move. But if you listen to the game, there's actually no sound. Okay? Nothing actually happens there. But under CPU settings at the back of reaction, there are these guard and counter attack options. Get used to these because these help you get used to the pace of the game. So guard and counter attack 2 is that they will 2P after they guard. So you can, for example, press a button and then tap up and listen. Your character will make a sound effect, and there's a sound effect with your feet.
Got it.
Okay? Now, you'll also, like, the animation is different. Like, your character will, like, step further into the background. There's normally a tiny little camera shift. And the thing about evades is that they actually take 23 total frames. Regardless of your character, it's just a solid 23. So you can actually calculate what your frame advantage is post-evade. Unfortunately, the training mode doesn't show you. And you base this on the total frames of the move. So I know for a fact 2Ps are universal. They all are 33 total frames. So I'm -5, you're doing a 33 frame action, and then my evade is taking 23. So there's actually a formula on this, and the idea is if you evade a 2P, assuming both of you do it as soon as possible, you gain 10 frames from the previous situation. So you go from -5, and post-evade, now here I am +5. Okay, now we can get really lost in the weeds on these numbers. That's not really critical at the moment. The rule of thumb I want you to remember is that if you poke in your minus and then you evade, 99% of the time you have advantage. The only real exception is if your opponent responds with a standing P, because if your opponent responds with a standing P, these are 27 total frames generally. 27, 28, and you only gain like 3 or 4 frames from the previous situation. So from -5 and after evade, you're still like -1, -2-ish. So if you evade just P, you might not have advantage, but if you evade literally anything else, you will have advantage. So you go poke, evade, throw them. Poke, evade, wait till they stand up, throw them. Poke, evade, go to their back.
Okay.
And basically you have a full range of choices post-evade. The hard part is that it is fast. The other thing is that just because you evaded doesn't mean you get anything guaranteed. An evasion is just one of the many choices you can make. Until you get like into the +10 and beyond area of frame data, absolutely nothing is guaranteed. So similar to Tekken, the actual play range is -9 to +9. Let's see here. We are going to do guard, boom, and we're going to evade. Let's see here. So you see here, I'm going to evade, but then he can evade. Oh, I was too late. What's this? I evade. Oh, one more time. And then he can evade. You see that? So just because you evaded doesn't mean anything is guaranteed. You have to read what their defensive choice will be. And if your opponent is evading too much, the simplest thing to do is to just throw them, because throws catch evades in both directions. And so this comes to one of the other fundamental parts of VF, is that the main mix-up of Virtua Fighter is not mid and low. Lows exist, and technically that's a mix. You have to G or you have to 2G them, but the real mix is mid and throw. The reason is because throws do good damage, give you huge advantage, they give you Oki. They're hard to break because they're all unseeable. This is my neutral throw. This is my forward throw. And he's got better ones. Let me see. This one, yeah. You've got forward throws and you've got back throws, and they all require different breaks. So now we can talk about throw escaping. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, for sure. No, and I think that was something that somebody had mentioned while I was playing it earlier this weekend, was that throws, I guess, are like a much more attractive option than other games in this series. Mostly because of the damage and the fact that well, actually, before we even go into throws, let me ask you this: with the mix-up being like mid or throw, when you sidestep or when you're like throwing from the side or throwing from the back, can you still tech throws like if you're in the middle of a step or if you're on the side or on the back?
Throws are always breakable unless they throw your back or unless they use a catch throw. Catch throws are special unbreakable throws that some characters have.
Okay.
So,
so even from the side, you're able to tech throws?
Yes, correct. But if your side is thrown, the mechanics of the break change. So.
Oh, okay. I do remember. I think in the tutorial, it's like if they're closer to the screen, you press you have to hold down and break, and if they're farther away from the screen, you hold up and break. Or I'm sorry, not up and down, left and right.
Yes, it's based on 3D space. So if you're looking at my screen, what side am I like relative to Akira? I'm on Akira's right side, right?
Yeah, so I'd be.
So Akira would break this throw with right PG.
Yeah.
And Akira would break this throw with left PG. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So if your opponent evades and immediately throws, if you can notice which of your sides they stepped to, that's how you break it. In fact, let me just do it like this. So that's a left side throw on Shundi. So I'm going to hold left and PG. See that? Now, we're sort of skipping ahead here because this is a side throw escape, but I want you to notice the advantage. I'm actually -2. That's Shundi. Side throws are weaker than regular throws because the break is canned. If you can see the side, the break is always the same. There's no way to mix a side throw. Does that make sense? So because of that, if you side throw someone and they break it, you actually still have frame advantage. The advantage post-throw is generally disadvantage for the person who attacked, but on side throw, that's not true. So you can represent the side throw, see if they can break them. If not, it's damage and Oki, and if they can, you still have that advantage, so you can attack again.
Okay. Oh, then that kind of goes back to the mix being mid or step.
Right, and when you have someone side, the whole game plan can change because frame data changes on side. That's the major benefit. Like notice this jab is +2, now it's plus more. Plus, it's what do I have it on? Yeah, we'll have it on guard. It's +2, jab is +2, on side, +4. 6P is -5, on side, it's -2. This launcher is -6, but over here it's -3. The frame data can change by 2 or 3 or 6 points, and it's based on the damage of the actual move. So higher damaging moves get 6 frames better. You can actually make an unsafe launcher safe by doing it against someone's side, for example. Okay, so
is it universal or is it like character specific?
No, that's universal. So the actual damage numbers is if an attack does less than 15 damage, it will get a 2-frame bonus. If an attack does 15 to 24 damage, it will get a 3-frame bonus. And if an attack does 25 or more damage, let's see, then it will get a 6-frame bonus. So this one does 25. So this is -22, 1-ish. Let's see, that's not enough damage. Let's see here. I need a high damage Shundi move. Let me find one real fast.
I wish I had that answer for you.
This is a character, by the way, that some of the best players in the country play. Rodnuts will generally bring out the Shundi when he feels like it. Bannock, Crazy Drunk, is one of the best players as well. He mains this character. Now, if you go to virtuafighter.com,
okay, I have heard.
You can actually easily sort by damage. So let's go for 9P plus K does a bunch of damage, but unfortunately it leaves you grounded, so that's not helpful. Let's see. -8. Boom. Here we go. So 4K is a full circular high. It does big damage. It leaves you -8 back turned. But if you do this against someone's side, it's -2. That's a pretty big change. Okay. Now, I have some resources. Obviously, this is a lot of numbers and stuff. It's going to be tough to remember. So one of the things to think about with Virtua Fighter is you want to grow into the mechanics. You want to start on the simpler end and sort of add more as more and more match situations come up. But really, the beauty of it is that any situation could happen at any point. So your skills are constantly tested. That can be a really fun thing. It can also be a really frustrating thing. Like when you're new, it's like, oh, he hit me from the side, or I didn't know this, or I didn't know that. And what I would just suggest is that get used to learning new things. because it's going to be happening for a while, because the mechanics are designed so that there is RPS at all times. It might seem like, wow, -2 side, that seems so good. Or there'll be things that are like +10 on side, like, wow, that seems broken, that seems to do so much damage. But there's almost always RPS in play. So with better understanding of the mechanics, you can avoid those, and you'll just have to eat them a few times before you start actually thinking about them. So it's just part of the journey. Now, we were talking about throw escape, so let me give you the rundown of just a basic throw escape and sort of what the mindset is. And a good way to practice this is with the dummy on guard and counterattack 5. Sometimes they're going to respond with a mid, and sometimes they're going to respond with a throw. What you want to do is, if you attack, you probably don't have advantage. You're going to, default to holding G for guard. But what I want you to start doing is press G and then P, almost like a plink, but not too close together. If you're holding G, pressing P and K doesn't do anything. In fact, if you move your joystick, the only thing that happens is you crouch or stand. So holding G effectively shuts everything off in this game, right? So you can guard and then hold punch. Guard and then hold punch. And the idea is anytime you are guarding, you are also escaping one of the 3 throws.
Okay.
G and then P, G and then P. All right? So the problem becomes that there are multiple throw types. If you look at the command list and go over to throws, what you'll notice is that after your generic P plus G, every single throw on the command list ends with a forward or a back input. So with Shundi, we have a forward throw, we have another forward throw, we have a half circle back throw that requires drinks, a back throw. Back forward, it ends in forward, so that's a forward throw. Half circle forward, that's a forward throw. Wall behind opponent, that's a back throw. You see what I'm saying? They all end in forward or back, and that determines the break direction. So, for example, if I press 6-6 P plus G, this is the one that gives you some drinks. If I, in fact, let me do it with Akira. This is an Akira forward throw you're going to be seeing. This is one of his best forward throws. So if I hold GP and forward, I break this one. Notice I don't need to re-input it. You can just hold it. Throw escaping is not a reaction. You're always escaping while you're guarding, and all you have to do is pick a direction. If I switch to back, this will not get broken now.
Okay. And do the throws look different at all, or do they look exactly the same?
Nope. Raw guess. Also, throws are faster than jabs. Which is
oh shit! I'm gonna write that down because that sounds important.
The standard 5P, like 5P and 2P for basically every character in the game is 12 frame startup. There are some exceptions. There's a couple characters that have an 11 frame jab. Vanessa has this really wonky, very short range 10 frame jab. But 12 is sort of the magic number where most characters can start attacking with strikes. And 2Ps are universal. Everyone's 2P is 12. That's sort of the number we're operating from. But throws actually start in 10 frames. Okay. And it is impossible to react in 10 frames. I don't want to hear any arguments about this. You are not reacting to anything in 10 frames, okay? Shut up. So the idea is dealing with throws is partially about understanding how to break them, but it's also about understanding that you do not have to take them. You can strike through a throw even if your disadvantage is very high. Let me find, let's see here. Guard. So this is a launcher for Shundi, 1P plus K. You should keep this one in mind. This is a good whiff punish for your character, 1P plus K. It's -6. Now, if you have a traditional fighting game mindset, you think, oh, if someone were to do a 10-frame throw, that would shut down almost every option. But in Virtua Fighter, that is only partially true, but there's basically always a joker that you can play, or in this case, the paper to the rock. So I'm going to, let's see here. You can set the dummy to respond with a throw. And when the dummy responds, it will always be the neutral break. So if you think they're going to throw, you always have a chance to break, but it's a 1 out of 3 guess. You can't actually know which throw it is. But you can also just attack again. Attacking is throw invincible, regardless of your disadvantage. Okay. So throws start in 10.
Sorry, wait.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let me stop you right there. And this is just so my brain can absorb this. So, buttons are throw invincible regardless of disadvantage. So, does that mean if, like, for example, I'm -6 and throws are 10? So if I do a button that's like under, like before. Oh, sorry. Let me think me think of how I can ask this question so it makes sense.
Sure.
Um, what is the threshold that I am no longer able to press a button to get through a throw?
-10.
Does that -10? Okay.
It doesn't matter which move you
Right, 'cause throw
use.
starts in yeah.
It doesn't matter which move you use. All strikes, period, hard coded in the system, are throw invincible on their first frame of startup. If you had a 30 frame strike, a 32 frame strike, it's throw invincible. It does, the speed of the move does not matter. As long as what they do is not guaranteed on the disadvantage, you can beat a throw. Does that make sense?
Wow, that's crazy. Okay.
Yep.
That's going to take a lot of time for my brain to get wrapped around that, but I understand it, yes.
So that is the rock, paper, scissors element. If you're -1 or -9, that number doesn't matter if you think they're going to throw paper, i.e. if you think they're going to throw. If you think they're going to throw, you just beat it. Poke, you're going to throw. Bop, got it. You know, and then do your little conversion or whatever it is. So throws are powerful because they're easy to beat. And that's why throws are ubiquitous. The idea is you want to throw someone for guarding and you want to throw someone for stepping. But if they mash, your throw will lose. That mix-up permeates every single interaction.
Okay. Interesting. Oh, wow, that's so interesting because it feels so backwards from modern. Well, I'm not gonna say modern because I think this is technically a modern game, but I think from the games that I've experienced, this is so backwards, right? Where buttons usually get thrown. So
right.
This is so interesting.
So the idea is, and
this is really interesting.
This is sort of a core feature of Virtua Fighter, is that I won't say frame data doesn't matter. Frame data matters a lot. There's a difference between -2, -5, -8, and so on. And the range is not that dissimilar from other 3D fighters. In Tekken, I would say -9 to +9 is the play range, because at -10 you start getting jab punished by most characters. It's that same -9 to +9 here. The difference is that you being minus only takes away from one of your options, the option to attack again. You know, if you, let's put the dummy to counterattack with jab. If you're minus and you try to attack again, you will lose because your opponent's attack comes out first, right? But if they don't attack, then the disadvantage doesn't matter. So it's a question of what do you think they will do and how do you beat it? So I'm -5, but I can beat this 2P with an evasion. I'm -5, but I can beat this 2P by backdashing and whiff punishing. With various attacks, right? I'm -5, but I can use, what is it at? But I can beat this with a 9K because jumping attacks get over lows. So the fact that I'm -5 doesn't mean I should guard. It means I should make a choice that beats the thing that they're going to do. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
This is really
super interesting.
where VF gets like sort of hard, because it's like you think, oh, I'm at a disadvantage, I should defend myself. Well, what that actually means in VF is a lot of things. You can guard, you can evade, you can jump over a low, you can attack again, you can crouch under a high, you can backdash, various options. If they use a longer range move, you'll get counter hit. Backdash has a counter hit state on it. You can do like part of a backdash and then buffer and evade in the middle of the backdash, because backdashes can cancel the sidestep, and so can forward dashes. You can do option select style defenses. There's a lot you can execute while you are minus frames that is strategically significant. It's not choose to mash, choose a throw escape. No, you can option select things at disadvantage, and your opponent has to try and cover for those. But if you try and make your defense too deep or too complicated, then something simple will come right back around and beat it. It comes right back to the RPS.
Okay, so it's a little less like let's say, for example, like a Street Fighter where like there's specific turns, right? Where after you do your block string, it's like, well, now I can't do anything, so I have to wait for my opponent to do something.
Right, like effectively, as long as you are -9 or better, you can always do something. And then it's just a question of, did you pick the right thing? I've been saying this a lot on my recent streams. There's this concept, especially that Tekken players have, of playing solid. Finger quotes, playing solid. I'm going to play solid. And what playing solid means is I will mitigate my risks. I will attack less, and if there's a skill gap between me and my opponent, they'll whiff, and I'll get a whiff punish. I will prefer mids over lows, because loads are risky. I will prefer running away from my opponent than running towards my opponent. You see what I'm saying? That combination of I will try to shade the numbers towards my advantage by doing as little as possible and by favoring defensive, lower risk options. That's what playing solid means. That does not exist in VF, okay? To a degree. I know a bunch of people right now. A bunch of people are going to go, what the fuck are you talking about? No, here's what I'm saying. As a new player, I need you to adopt the mindset that it is okay to do things while you are minus. Doing things while you are minus is the point of this system. If you think they're going to go low, go over it. If you are wrong, like let's say, for example, they respond with a standing jab. Like I think they'll 2P. Oh, they floated me. Okay, so next time, go under it. Next time, beat it with a high crush. That's what your 1P is for. You know what I'm saying? Next time, crouch dash under it, and then whiff punish it. Ooh.
And crouch dash is just like 3-3 or 1-1, right?
3-3 or 1-1, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is... I don't think I can get 1P plus K on this. That was too slow. Whew. So it's harder to like whiff punish a jab and stuff like that, right? But also like, oh, I'm going to poke and then I'm going to throw. Well, strike beats throw. Like the idea is anytime there's an interaction, you should be able to mechanically understand why it happened. And so you can tailor your choices while you are minus, but you have to do that same thing while you're plus. When you have plus frames, it's not simply attack again. It's you need to mix between attack and throw. But what if your opponent seems really, really good at scouting out your throws, and half the time they're minus, they launch you? How do you adopt your mindset? So this becomes about your opponent and not about the system at that point. So at some point, it always comes back to that RPS, yeah.
Yeah, it almost feels like it feels very similar to like the combo breaker system in Killer Instinct, where like you're still like actively making decisions even when things are like either at advantage or disadvantage, right? Where you're still like trying to guess like, oh, is my opponent gonna hit a medium or a light or a heavy? Like you're still like you're trying to find all of the patterns everywhere and then play accordingly. That I find that super interesting because I think as far as my brain goes, it feels like everything is always like a binary, right? Where it's like advantage or disadvantage, press button or don't press button. So this is like completely different than what I'm used to, which is very interesting. And it's going to take a while for my brain to like fully wrap around it, like in practice, but like in theory, like this is awesome. This is exactly what I needed to hear.
Yeah, this is a wide open system, and it is that way by design. What I see a lot in the Virtua Fighter Discord, the fan one, also a little bit in the official one that Sega put out, is people will start to lab the game. They'll start to understand the offense. They'll come to a situation like, say, Oki, and be like, let me see if I can have a setup for this wake-up kick. Let me see if I can have a setup that gives me the side turn situation. And such setups exist, but they're often on like a manual timing. Like they're difficult to actually nail down. Like there's actually a timing window on quick rising. So if you were to actually find, like for example, if you set the dummy to fall recover on, let's see, side roll, like turn back. So the idea is if you actually knock the opponent down, they will roll into the background here. But when they press PKG to get up, there's actually like a 3 or 4 frame window on that. So if you try to actually lab a media attack that works on that, it won't work all the time in practice because the quick rise timing is actually a spectrum of timings. There's lots of things like that where there is a spectrum of possible timings, and as such, the whole decision system is very open and fluid. It operates on digital terms, and if both of you are constantly buffering your actions, you know exactly what will happen relative to what they input. But you can introduce manual delays as well, and that's when the game just becomes completely wide open. Either way, the system is designed so that there is no way around guessing. Or to put it another way, it's difficult to actually hedge your bets in a meaningful, effective way unless your opponent is just lacking options. If your opponent actually represents guard and backdash and crouch and evade and jump and, disadvantaged launcher, then it's extremely difficult to rush someone down because you don't have an option that beats all those. You might have an option that beats 2 or 3 of those, but then not the other ones. So you have to figure out how your opponent defends in order to attack them. Similarly, you have to figure out the basics of attacking so that you can start to minimize the options and start to actually counter your opponent's choices. So there's no substitute for knowing the system. Absolutely not. But then the system guides you towards Yomi-style decisions, rock, paper, scissors. Like that's ultimately where you have to go no matter what the situation is. And that's honestly why I love Virtua Fighter. But it's a big adaptation. Yeah, Killer Instinct is really the perfect example from 2D of a game where even though you're getting hit, you're making a decision. And then after the combo break, there's that situation which in some matchups is like slightly advantaged and so on, right? Like it promotes a continuous play, and that is absolutely like the focus of Virtua Fighter compared to other games.
Okay. Wow, that's super interesting.
Okay. Now, I think we sort of went in a big circle around a bunch of different mechanics, and honestly, there's still quite a lot to discuss. But I think we might want to go over like the basics of offense one more time, just as far as like how to like get your offense started. So, effectively, the most basic offensive sequence you can go for is jab into quick mid. Unfortunately for Xundi, this is important, his quick mid starts in 15 frames, and that's actually 1 frame slower than everyone else in the game. Most characters have a 14 frame mid that they want to use. And when you don't have one of those 14 frame mids, you can just substitute with a 2P. The idea being that if your opponent presses after the jab, you want to attack with something that'll give you a counter hit advantage. So like jab into 2P is like a basic frame trap that everyone can do. Okay, so you jab them, and if they press, you 2P. And then you get this +7. And what you want to do with this +7 is you want to throw or mid. Okay, get advantage, and then throw or mid. Get advantage, and then throw, get advantage, and then throw or mid. And the idea is your mid, you want to pick something that's safe on block, but that can also give you a good reward. By any chance, did you watch my second tutorial video on foundational offense?
I did not.
No worries. No worries. So
sorry.
No worries. Don't worry about it. This is it's quite a lot to get into. When you look at a command list, I want to point out that it's about the same size as Tekken, but if you actually wrote down everything that's not in a string, most characters only have like 30 to 50-ish attacks, like period. Like for example, here's Xundi's P, and it leads into all these different offshoot strings, some of which require drinks, right? So if we just omit all of that and we just say P is a high, we can cut out that chunk of the move list. And then the next move on the move list is literally 6P. You see that? And then there's 6P strings, and then it's 4P, and the options from that. And then 6P, and the options from that. Each of those string starting moves, each unique move actually has a purpose, and then some of them have string follow-ups. There's a move that, you know, I have experience against, this one with the red arrow. It's 2-3P. This is your counter hit starter tool. It looks like this. Nope, that's Chowan. Hold on a second. Actually, I gotta get rid of my drinks. We're gonna switch up.
Now, just a question here. The red arrow, is that just the while crouching thing?
It's while crouching. You can hold down and then input 3P. That's how you do it. But if you buffer a crouch dash, you can do it instantly. So for example, if you input 3-3P, that will give it to you. Because 3-3 puts you in a crouching state, and then you're already holding 3. So you can do it instantly from standing.
Does that doesn't go under highs, does it?
It does not.
Like buffering a crouch dash? Okay.
Well, if you just crouch dash and don't attack, you can get under highs. But if you actually do the attack, then it won't. But the point of that is that this particular mid, if it were to counter hit, you're going to get a combo off of it. Let's see. Some characters have multiples of these. But pretty much all characters have a mid that starts around 16, 17 frames that can give you a counter hit combo. And I don't know what the combo for Xundi here is going to be. I think it's going to be... PPP into 2K maybe? Xundi mains, I need your help.
He only gets the 2K follow-up with a couple drinks. I know that one.
Woo. So, and by the way, there's a great resource for this called virtuafighter.com. A lot of those combos are still good. That was a fan-made site, and obviously there's going to be lots of updates to that with the new balance changes because a lot has changed. But the idea is everyone has a mid that when you have significant frame advantage, you can go for to punish them even harder for striking. So this is like a fun drill I like to set up where they do one jab, and then they do 2 jabs. Let me make sure it works. Boom. And then they do 3 jabs. Okay. And if when you have multiple recordings like this, if you look at the bottom right, you can actually press Y or triangle to play them back at random. So when you want to guard a 2P and respond with a mid. Sometimes they'll guard, sometimes they'll get counter hit. And when they do get counter hit, they might guard again, or they might do another 2P. So like he might mash again here. Let's see. Boom. Oh, missed it. Ooh. See, guard, respond. Oh, he blocked. And so you want to try and react to these situations. You see that? I got advantage, and then I use my higher advantage to go for the counter hit mid. He blocks, I stop. He gets hit, I continue. Whew. And then there's like a real combo there that I don't know. Boom, boom, boom. You see that? Get advantage, and then attack from advantage. When you have advantage, choose if you want to attack with something bigger. So, and then like from there, there's a -8 situation where your opponent can represent multiple things. So effectively, what you're going to keep coming back to is get advantage and then mid or throw. Get advantage and then mid or throw. If you have enough advantage, you can represent the counter hit mid. You don't have to do that counter hit mid. You could just do another 6P. But what you'll recognize is if you keep doing counter hit 6Ps, you basically have to land like 10 of these to win a round. And that's fine if you want to win that way, but basically winning with just the jabs, winning with just the boxing is like a basic way to start playing. But then it's like, what do I do with this +7? What do I do with this +9 that I'm getting? And what you do with it is you make them want to, if they're guarding when you have advantage, you throw them. If they're not guarding when you have advantage, you go for the counter hit mid. And that's like a basic 50-50 to operate off of.
Yeah, okay, and that's that rock, paper, scissors that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. So when you have a significant frame advantage like that, you can't avoid a throw in traditional ways. That's sort of the concept of Nitaku. There's actually a time delay between standing and crouching when it comes to throw hit detection. Okay, you can guard a low instantly and you can guard a high instantly, but if you duck, it actually takes time to crouch, and if your opponent threw you, the delay could make it so you get caught. And when you're at a heavy disadvantage, you actually can't get under throws. So that's why sort of the main goal of Virtua Fighter is to try and get an advantage of 6 or higher, because then you can force a strong mid-throw mix, and that is what Nitaku is.
Okay.
Okay, so now we talked about evasion earlier, so like if you wanted to go for this counter hit mid, they could absolutely step that. I'll give you like the Akira example here. Elbow into counter hit elbow. You can evade it, right? In fact, you can even punish a lot of these counter hit tools. But the thing is, if you evade, then you would get thrown. Let me clear this one. Yeah, there we go. I'll evade. I'll evade. I'll evade. Oh, let's see when it's going to give it to me. 1 and 2. Oh, see? So I can't evade that one, right? Now I can, however, try and evade and buffer a throw escape. So look at my inputs. I can evade and input a throw escape. Because the thing is, the evade is buffered. You actually input the up while you're in the hit stun, like while you're recovering. So you buffer the evade.
Oh shit, so you're buffer. Oh, okay. Ah, okay.
Like look at the timing of my up input.
Yeah, wow. Okay. So you're buffering the movement. Okay. Well, not movement, the evades, yeah.
See that? So the thing is, it's still possible to like buffer and evade and then go for a throw escape. But this is partially something that's hard to learn, that you have to practice to do. And that's just a forward throw because this is a dummy. A human would mix up different throws here. Throwing is extremely strong. Throws can deal like 15 to 25% of a health bar. Wolf has a throw that does over 40% of a health bar. It's really dangerous to say, I'm going to stand guard and evade a lot, and I'm going to break all the throws. That basically doesn't work. Statistically, it's a poor strategy, because if your opponent knows that mid-throw is the mix and they throw enough, you're almost guaranteed to eat a chunk of the throws. I'm sure some statistician could tell me, but if there were like, 5 throws coming your way in a round and they all connected with a random chance of you breaking 1 of 3, how many throws would you break on average? Some statistician could tell you, but the answer is it's bad. You're probably going to lose half your life or more if you say, I'll just stand guard and evade a lot and break all the throws. So one of the core strategies about throws is to avoid them. You're better off crouching under throws or like jumping them or just attacking through them. It's more consistent to avoid throws than it is to have to try and break them. And sometimes you just have to try and break them. You make the wrong defensive choices, you like to do evading, and sometimes you'll succeed. And if you get a throw escape, you can get some frame advantage, and sometimes that can turn into the round. But sometimes it won't. How weighty your choices are depends on you and your opponent and how frequently you make those choices. It's better to try and avoid throws. And that's why the magic number is sort of +6 here. I'm going to teach you about disadvantage and fuzzy guard here. Let's see. So we're going to have the dummy guard for a sec. I need to find, I have a -5. I have a -3. Let's see if I got one. I got K. I got 6K. Oh, -2. That'll work. So I mentioned that guarding takes time, like crouching and standing. Let's see, we're going to go to guard and counter with a throw. So if you are -3 or better, you can hold 2G and just duck under a throw. Okay. And if you get really fast, trying to like whiff punish their throw with your own throw, or by standing up and hitting PK, you see that blue counter down there?
Oh, okay.
That little blue counter indicator is telling you that you hit someone during their recovery. So you can actually try and put in the work to where you, like you duck a throw. Yeah, you duck a throw and then you can like punish it on whiff. But you can only duck a throw with 2G if you are -3 or better. If you actually go up to -4 or more, 2G does not duck the throw in time. And look at my inputs. Okay, so starting at -4, you can't 2G. However, there is a faster way of crouching than just holding 2G, and that is with the crouch dashes. 3-3 and 1-1. Ooh, not 1-1, hold on. It's only 3-3. 3-3 will put you in a crouching state on frame 5 rather than frame 7.
Okay. Wow, okay, so, okay, this is huge because this is something they tried to impart on the tutorial, but I don't think I caught it.
Right.
So this is a much better explanation than that. Yeah, okay.
It's funny, the tutorial actually has a lot of good information in it. It's just not presented in the way that actually allows you to sort of synergize it with your strategies. But effectively, if you were to go to virtuafighter.com and take a look at your character's move list. In fact, on the official website that Sega has for this game, they've actually put the new frame data for all the characters. So if anyone wants that link, let me know. But the idea is the frame data for your moves is available to you. You can look at your command list and see everything you have that is -5 or better. And what you can start doing is fuzzy guarding after they're guarded. And if your opponent responds with a throw or a mid, you actually still have an opportunity to deal with both.
Okay. Huh.
Oh, missed the fuzzy. See that? As long as you are -5 or better and you learn how to fuzzy guard, your opponent cannot immediately mix you with a mid throw in response. They can like wait a bit, like wait for you to do a fuzzy and then throw, but if they're waiting a bit, they're killing their advantage and you might be able to just like attack right through whatever they do. You see what I'm saying? By implementing fuzzy guard, it makes your opponent want to hesitate. By making them hesitate, you can steal more turns, and that adds more layers to the RPS. The problem is when you enter -6 territory. At -6, I'm going to fuzzy guard here. Oh, there we go. We're going to set it to throw. If you are -6, even if you try to fuzzy guard, it's number 3. There we go. Where is it at? 4. My bad. There we go. At -6, you cannot crouch under a throw. See that? It's impossible. So if you want to like not get thrown when you're -6, I'm actually trying to jump away. I'm trying to 7G. That doesn't work either. I'm trying to backdash. That doesn't work either. Trying to evade. Throws beat evades. Trying to duck. Can't duck in time. There is no movement option that avoids throws once you are -6 or worse. So what is the only option left if I don't want to break this throw?
Press a button.
Attack again. That's correct. So now the game is telling you that when you are -6, there's a good reason to press buttons. And that forms the next basis of the RPS. So And this is part of understanding your move list. So as a Shundi player, you're going to want to go for this launcher, especially when you're at low drinks. That's like a good way to get a knockdown, be able to like get a quick jab into like another drink situation. But if this is guarded, you're not punishable. So anticipate what your opponent's going to do. If you think they'll strike you, just guard, or you might be able to evade it. But you might just want to attack again. So which choice do you want to make when you are -6 to -9? That's up to you.
But even though you can't avoid the throw, you can still tech it though, right? Or
yes, you can. You can escape the throw. So guarding is still the safest option, but only in the sense of you can guard their mid and you have a chance to escape the throw. But what is your chance of escaping their throw? It's 33%, right?
33, yeah, 33%. Yeah.
It's just random.
That makes a lot of sense.
And when it comes to actually throw escaping, it's about knowledge of the opponent's character. Like if you were to know Akira, you would learn that his most damaging throw is a backwards throw. It's quarter circle back throw now. And this combo on Shundi does 70 damage and gives him very strong Oki. In fact, you being face down, feet towards is actually very strong because your wake up kicks change. And the wake up mid kick in that situation is linear, meaning Akira can step it. Whereas a lot of wake up kicks are full circular. But that is a tiny detail in a super huge system. The key is if you want to break the most damaging throw from Akira, you want to be breaking back. So next time you're in an Itaku situation, you might break back, but then he's just throwing out the neutral and the forward throws, right? So there's RPS of throw works against stepping and guarding, but then when the throw actually happens, there's also the RPS system within the throws. Do you want to break the most damaging throw, or do you want to break the least damaging throw? Because you think that he thinks that you think he'll go for the most damaging throw. You know?
That's so ridiculously interesting. This is great.
So saying I am going to attempt a throw escape is just mathematically not a great strategy. But it can work if you make the right reads or if you have good insight into the opponent's mindset. In fact, it's sort of good to start breaking neutral throws against good players. Good players tend to start with neutral, and intermediate players tend to start with like their forward throw because it's like their most rewarding one. In the case of Shundi, like forward, PG is like a good one to get a bunch of drinks. That gives you 4 drinks.
Yeah.
And you also have like space, so you can start doing like other stuff. And then they actually buffed the neutral throw. The neutral throw gives like 3 drinks when I think it used to give 2. So as a Shundi player, your back throw is 60 damage, but no drinks. Your forward throw is 55 damage, so it's close to 60, but then you get a bunch of drinks. So you got 60, 55, and 49. Those are the damages, but also 2 of those give me drinks. So when I'm fighting a Shundi, I'm trying to think, is he trying to get the 4-drink throw or the 3-drink throw, or is he just going to go for back throw, which I probably don't. I'm never thinking about breaking back throw because I think that he's trying to get drinks, right? So some very strong Shundi players do back throw all day at round start because it's like they would never break back. It doesn't give me any drinks. Yeah, and so each character has a different expression of that sort of RPS, but that's where the throw system becomes interesting, is which one do you want to break for which reasons, and how often should you throw? Should you throw every time you're plus, half the time when you're plus, only slightly when you're plus? Is it better to work more delays into your game plan? If people are stepping, you also have these attacks with the arrows on them, the circulars. And the circulars are strikes that let you beat steps. You don't have to throw every step, right? So you always have multiple choices for dealing with your opponent's defensive choices. Whew. Have I mentioned Virtua Fighter's a deep game?
You have, and this is one of those things where like we're having this lesson, and I think like it sucks that the beta goes. I think the beta goes down either today or tomorrow.
Probably today.
But
yeah.
like it's gonna take me like two sleeps to digest everything. But with that said, though, like all of this information is like really good because it's all about like changing the mindset, right? Whereas like before, you put it like you hit the nail on the head, where like you are trying to manipulate the game so that you have the most advantageous position, whether it's by movement or by choosing certain actions when you're plus, et cetera, et cetera. But here, like since it's so I think the best word for me to use is fluid, right? Where you're constantly having to make decisions and things move very quickly from one to another. It becomes so much more about like it becomes less about the game and more about your opponent, which I find super interesting.
Yes. I often like try to draw the comparison to like how a lot of 2D fighters are made these days. Like in 2D fighting games, what you're supposed to do is learn your character. And then once you've learned your character, you're supposed to do the things you're supposed to do. And you do that until your opponent's really good. Then you start mixing in the things that you're not supposed to do because they start working. You know what I'm saying? Like RPS is a thing in all fighting games, but in 2D fighters, you don't necessarily want to do RPS. You almost always want to pick the option that will give you the safest thing or will give you the reward that most players don't know how to deal with. Like there's only so many ways of dealing with various 2D fighting game mechanics. VF allows you to beat things in your own way. When you are at frame disadvantage, you have multiple choices for defending yourself. Usually more than one of them can be correct. Like if you think your opponent will throw, you can strike, but if you have like a low enough disadvantage, you might be able to like backdash away and get like a whiff punish or something like that. And with Xundi in particular, this is a key strategy. If I impart one piece of knowledge to you, is that 236P is the most important move on your move list. I believe it takes 6, it used to be 6 strings. I'm not sure if it's still 6. Let me check the command list real fast. It's called Chowan. 236P, where are you? 236P. Requires 6 or more drinks. This is your most important move. Because this move is probably one of the best whiff punishers in the game. You just get a combo on this. There we go. And then, obviously, you want to optimize that combo and so on. But that's probably his most important move. And so Xundi, more than other characters, likes to like backdash away from pressure because he can get really, really strong whiff punishes. I like to joke sometimes that Virtua Fighter doesn't have a neutral game. It absolutely does have a neutral game, but it's harder to control than games like Tekken where you have very fine, precise control over your movement. If you see me like dash canceling around, you'll notice it's almost like I'm on a grid. It's hard to like be at a very specific spot. And walking offers you no defense and it doesn't really move very far. This is fun to do, I don't know.
So are you in that same vein, are you able to buffer a backdash like you're able to buffer an evade?
You can buffer everything.
Okay.
Absolutely everything. The buffer size is, I believe, 12 frames. So you back during the last 12 frames of whatever you're doing, and it will come out first frame.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this is what you were talking about, where it incentivizes like just making a decision instead of reacting. Okay.
Right. If you come out of block stun and you didn't buffer something, you're basically just holding G, which means you're gonna get thrown, or you know, like, so I guess the best way to put it is that the frame advantage system in VF only gives you enough frames to give you the meaningful choices. If you waste any time, the whole game opens up and suddenly the entire move list is available, and then the game starts feeling random and you both start counter hitting each other. To make meaningful choices, you need to use the buffer so that you're doing things on the first possible frame. That is part of what makes Virtua Fighter a speed guessing game rather than just like a traditional guessing game, is you need to make sure, like, for example, this is -5. If I were to do a move with more disadvantage, like if I were -6, I would not get away from this throw.
Yeah.
You see that? Buffer the backdash and I don't get away. Maybe if I'm a little bit further. Yeah. Now range can come into play, just like with a 2D fighter. So there is such a thing as range, and you can, you know, flex it a little bit, but a lot of the game happens here, and you need to buffer your actions for them to be effective. In fact, while we're talking about buffer, I do think we glossed over something pretty important, and that is G canceling, or clearing the buffer. With Xundi, you've probably noticed you have like a P string, right? So I told you earlier that you want a frame trap with like P into 2P, but if you press P and then 2P, you'll continue your string. Right? So it's like that seems like a long time to wait, but if you press P and then G, then you can buffer your 2P.
Oh, okay. Oh, so this is okay. So, and this is what you were talking about, like how wait. Oh, no. Sorry. You were talking about. Never mind. I was equating this to something that's incorrect.
Oh,
okay,
no.
So
no worries.
Is it almost like you're almost like plinking a G after pressing the P?
Yep. The idea is when you press the G button, the game looks for any strings that could occur or even any stance transitions, and it says they are no longer possible.
Holy Holy shit! That's
And because they're no longer possible, you can input whatever you want. You know, PG 9 kg, PG 2p, PG backdash, so on and so on. You see that? So by pressing G, you can make sure that strings don't come out. And this is going to be important for characters that have like basic PP strings. And that's a lot of the cast, honestly. Like PP is a common string, PPPK, and so on. So you use the G to cut off the buffer, to cut off any potential strings. And that's how you can quickly chain your attacks together without wasting any frame advantage.
Wow, that's crazy.
Right.
And I say that because I think that was one of my pain points was I kept getting more of the string than I wanted to. So this fixes a huge problem I was having. So
Fixes the whole thing.
About that. That's awesome.
Yep. Ooh, wall throw. Let's go.
I'm even writing this down because G clears the buffer. Okay, that's awesome.
G clears the buffer. Now, because of this, be careful button mashing during like throws and animations and stuff. Sometimes a move will have a follow-up and you're just sort of mashing, but by pressing G, you can actually prevent that follow-up. So it will prevent you from doing any string or follow-up to the previous action. So make sure you press the G once, go to the next thing, and you know, just don't mash on G by accident because you can actually ruin some of your own attacks that way. And what you'll also notice, if you watch the hands of people who are good at VF, they just start like pressing G after everything. If it sounds like I'm mashing sometimes when I'm playing, what I'm doing is I'm pressing G after lots of different actions. And then, like, for example, as an Akira player, I can say that for certain combos, I need to press G at certain points. Like, for example, if I float you with a jab like this, I need to press G to make sure I can buffer the next attack properly without accidentally getting, like, a string.
Man, that's so cool. Damn.
So the G clear is important for combos. It's important for your standing pressure. It's honestly just something you're going to be doing all the time, regardless of character.
Wow. Okay. All right. So, let me try asking this. This is a lot of info, and I'm absorbing a lot of it. But with that said, what are like one or two good drills to practice this stuff? Specifically, like let's say, for example, we were talking about starting your offense, right? So
yes.
Like getting into an advantageous position and then either doing mid or throw.
Right.
What are good drills to practice to get into that position?
Sure. So very similar to Tekken and other 3D fighters, you only have a very limited amount of moves that give you frame advantage on guard. The general way to get frame advantage is to land a hit or to block most of your opponent's move list. There are some characters where literally the only move they have that's plus is like P, and like that's it. Some characters will have like 2 or 3 more after that. Some characters are sort of privileged, like Jackie Bryant has a good amount of advantage on guard, but they're like on the end of 3 and 4 hit strings, so that's why that's fair. Or they're like on options out of his stance, which is very slow. So the general idea is get advantage and then mid throw. How do you get advantage? The most basic way is to jab, which is to say get at close range and press P. And then jab and then 2P, or for pretty much every other character, you can jab into 6P, and that'll be a frame trap to prevent them from mashing. Jab into 2P, or jab into mid. Now, the other way to get advantage is to block most of your opponent's attacks. So if we think about the basics, we have the jab, the quick mid, and the 2P. If you block the quick mid, you have advantage. So block the quick mid and respond with yours, or block the quick mid and then throw. So you can just set up a dummy to sort of get that started. Let's do it like this. Like jump and then just do the quick mid. And then like hold G. And what you want to start doing is I'm going to block and respond. Get a feel for how to actually buffer coming out of that block stun. Like I'm pressing 6P, but I'm too early. So it's like I'm going to block and respond. Block and respond. Here I'm attacking at +5. Block and respond. I'm going to block and respond with throw. Block and respond with forward throw. Block and respond with back throw. So get used to get frame advantage by guarding and respond with a mid or one of your throws. Like, for example, I noticed when we were playing, you would respond with P a lot of the time, and that wasn't effective because it's a high, right?
Yeah.
So you respond with mid or throw, and this forces the opponent to start actually think about defending these options.
Okay.
You block something, you get advantage, respond with your mid or throw. Which mid should you respond with? There's basically 2 main ones. You want to respond with your quick mid sometimes, and with your counter hit mid other times. So, like, for example, if we had the dummy do this and then attack again, let's make sure he does it. Attack again. Good. So if you were to block and then respond, you're going to get a counter hit, right? So what you want is to counter hit with this mid. This is your good reward mid. He has 80 damage. Well, I have 34 drinks, but still.
Yeah, and that's like the wall crouching down forward punch, right?
Right.
Or,
It's
the crouching 3P. Yeah.
It's the 2 3P. And so.
Okay.
Yep. When you have that advantage, you can, as long as you're like generally like +4 or better, which is going to be a lot of the time, then your counter hit mid is going to be good. It's back 4P. Okay. Boop. And 2P to pick up. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Right? So block and then respond with your counter hit mid. Block and then respond with throw. Right? And that becomes the basis. So your opponent attacks you with something, respond with quick mid, counter hit mid, and throw. Or you start your advantage. Guard and counter attack 2P. You jab and get your advantage. Oh, here's your +7. +7 into your counter hit mid. Here's your +7 into a throw.
Okay.
You see that?
Oh, okay.
Get advantage, and then mid or throw.
Yeah, and you were saying like +6, +7 is like where you want that advantage because you're not able. They're not able to like crouch under throws and stuff, right? So the throws are more.
They're unable to move around throws. So if they make the decision, I want to beat your throw, that means your counter hit mid will connect because they have to attack.
Okay.
Okay. So the thing is, mechanically, it's a restriction where if they don't want to break a throw, they have to attack. But some players won't know that. They'll just guard a lot, right? My honest recommendation, if you're a beginner and you're fighting other beginners, is throw a lot. Teach each other how to throw escape because you will not break them and you will eat them a lot because you're guarding. So some beginners are going to see that and be like, well, then I'll mash 2P all day. Ha ha ha. You've probably already fought against that. But fighting 2P mash is very simple. You just block and respond. Block and respond. And there you go. So what this does do, and this is sort of a truth of the game that won't really change, is there is an outsized influence on reacting to the common situations. If you block a 2P and go, oh, I'm going to quick mid, and then you get counter hit, it's like, oh, there's the 2P. Oh, you were too slow. This is the speed of the game. Your goal is to match the speed of the game by making your thinking as fast as the game is. There's the 2P. I'll react. Okay, I was in time. Oh, there's the 2P. Oh, too slow. See that? So now, I'm not necessarily suggesting that you should absolutely react to every single attack that comes your way. But if your goal is to improve at the game, understanding the frame situation when you guard something and having an educated, canned response is the most effective thing you can possibly do. And so being able to respond to common situations becomes sort of the meat and potatoes of how to actually use the frame advantage to your advantage. You need to be able to say, if I'm just going to guard for a second, and if I see a 2P, I'm going to blow him up. Got him. See what I'm saying? That is a confident, solid decision that I can make because of my, mechanical understanding of the game combined with my reaction time. And that becomes how you start making reads, where you start going, you know what, I bet you they're going to 2P and then they're going to evade, so I'm just going to blow that up, They're going to evade, so I'll just throw them. Done. Or they're going to step that way, I'm going to, 1P, nice. There we go. Which one is it? 2kg catches that way. So you have multiple choices for dealing with evades, for dealing with mashers, for dealing with guarding, for dealing with patience, for dealing with fast play. And you just have to find the right answers.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, honestly...
I'm saying damn because it's good.
It's honestly a little overwhelming. I understand. I was worried about this. I'm sure there's plenty of people in both of our chats that was like, wow, this seems sort of like an info dump. Like, I want to be clear, info dumps are bound to happen with this game. If you are curious about the mechanics, every mechanic feeds into another one. Like, we didn't talk about offensive move. We didn't talk about offensive move. We didn't really talk about side mechanics, although like I briefly mentioned them. I talked about side throw escapes a little bit. Yeah. I didn't talk about wall mechanics. There's more going on. Depending on your character, that will lean you towards learning about that particular mechanic. So your goal as a player is to try and take advantage of these common, P, 2P, 6P situations, and then as the rest of the game opens up to you, learn about those and learn about the counters to that. But there's always an RPS going on, so if you have confidence in the mechanics, then you can construct the proper reads, and then it's just about experience. I've been playing the game about 4 years. I can confidently say that I can have an entertaining match with Virtua Fighter players of almost any level. I was in that exhibition the other day, and Denkai is the sort of player that absolutely would have kicked my ass 3 years ago when I had started. I would have never been able to keep up with him. There's like this Dragon Ball Z thing where Goku walks up to Gohan and is like, when I was fighting Cell, could you follow us? Were you able to see what we were doing? Yes. And it's like, Gohan has leveled up. He's on this level now. That actually is a thing. Can you keep up with the pace of the game? Is your power level, is your experience level informed enough, strong enough, resilient enough to be able to know what's happening on both sides and make decisions in real time? 2 years ago, no. Now, absolutely. I almost beat him. Damn it. The score was 4-5, and I know exactly which mistakes I made. As soon as I lost, I went to the jump punch, jump kick, both available towards his chest. I got the shoulder side struggle, blah, blah, blah. The point is I labbed it. I'm not losing to that again. It's a system game, so I know all the answers. It's just about making sure that your response, your reaction, is practiced and effortless. Muscle memory, particularly with things like defensive mechanics, counts for a lot in this game. You're always pressing buttons. You're pressing buttons on offense, but you're also pressing buttons on defense. And you're doing these dash cancels and stuff on defense. And you're backdashing into attack on defense. And you're attacking at -6 on defense. Buttons are always being pressed. There is no downtime. So muscle memory in both the offensive and defensive parts of the game becomes such a huge aspect because you need to make sure that your defense or offense actually works for you to flow into a meaningful strategic sequence. It's a lot. It sort of exemplifies a real martial art in that way. If you haven't practiced the punch won't be good. It's not just jab into medium punch. It's not just jab into throw. You have to finesse it. You have to make jab into 2P work, because jab into 2P won't work on some players. If jab into 2P isn't working, then jab into throw might work. If none of that is working, maybe they're reacting to your jab, and maybe you should just start with a throw. And so on and so on and so forth. The rabbit hole doesn't really stop going down, and that's why this game has been enjoyable for 12 plus years. When you watch the top players play, you see them playing around each other's decisions and adapting towards each other once you understand the mechanics. So the game doesn't stop being fun because you just start shifting your choices based on how your opponent likes to defend themselves, and that just doesn't end.
Yeah, or there's I think something that I'm finding very attractive about this game compared to a lot of other games is it feels like this is like constantly active, right? Like you're constantly making a decision and constantly pressing a button, which is super interesting. Like that's a mindset change that needs to happen on my brain, on my end, because I think, man, especially with games like even like Street Fighter 4, where you're just you're blocking and waiting for something to happen, so then you take your turn, right? But with this, it feels like it's like I mentioned, like it's like Killer Instinct, where you're like still have to pay attention while something is happening, and everything, like it's an always on type of thing, which I find super attractive. This is really cool.
Yep, it's always on. And like, I'll give you an example of something that requires good reaction time that is really, really difficult to do, but people should strive to eventually be able to do it. I mentioned earlier that when you evade something, you can actually calculate what your frame advantage is, right? So I'm -5 here, and if I evade this 2P, I know that I am +5. But you can actually evade something big and have so much advantage that you can guarantee a whiff punish. And by the way, for the people in chat, yes, those are my birds, Pinky and Brain. They're going to be chirping a lot. I apologize.
Oh, it's fine.
But
tell him I said hello.
He says hello. They said hi back. So the idea is when you evade something, you can actually calculate your frame advantage. Just to reiterate, a successful evade takes 23 frames. So you're doing a 23 frame action, and you can count the total frames of their action and then add your advantage. So I know 6Ps, for example, generally are around 36 total frames. All this information is on virtuafighter.com, by the way. So if that's 36 total frames minus 23, that's 13, minus the 5 disadvantage. I am now +8 after this evade, right? But what if...
So,
Yep, go ahead
so
if you have thought.
Then this is just another way of like putting yourself at advantage, right? Where you can do the mid or throw.
That's right. So if you're mid and you guard, if you block a strike, you'll get advantage. But if you mid and then evade, and you evade a strike, you'll also get advantage. The benefit to evading over guarding is almost certainly way more advantage. But the disadvantage to evading is opening yourself up to circulars and throws. So take that as an advice. Like if you always respond, like if you block and always respond with a linear mid, or always respond like with your counter hit mid, then you can always get evaded. So make sure you sometimes respond with a circular, or sometimes respond with a throw. That everything comes back to mid throw. Mids and throws cover almost everything. There's very few situations where mid and throw doesn't cover everything, except for that like fuzzy guard thing I was talking about, right? And those situations where the mid or throw doesn't work, it sort of breaks the VF triangle, but then you'll find you still have like 3 or 4 good options. You just have to step away from mid throw before coming back to it. But you evade a strike. If it's just like a quick P or 2P or 6P, you get a significant advantage on their side. But what if you were to evade, for example, something significant, like a launcher? Well, in this case, the game doesn't tell you, but you're like plus a billion.
Yeah.
And you can actually whiff punish these things on evade. You see that blue counter appear? Oh. Oh, let's go. Oh, missed it. So that's 86 damage. That's over a third of a life bar because I evaded a single strike and recognized that it was a big move with big recovery and launched it. In the course of a single match instant, you can get a third or half of their life bar if you can react well enough to the information on the screen. It just goes by in a flash. You will die instantly in 2 or 3 good hits, especially if a wall is nearby or if the edge of the ring is nearby, in 1 good hit. The reason that Virtua Fighter is so deep is that obviously there's plenty of good reasons, but one of the things that is very attractive about Virtua Fighter is that every round is on a knife edge because everything matters. Evading a small strike could give you the advantage you need to give you the counter hit that gets you the ring out. Evading a big strike could get you the punish that you need that gives you 40% of their life bar, or lets you carry to the wall and then gives you a wall mix-up, which then will destroy them. You know, everything flows from one thing to the next, and it never stops. This throw gives me Oki, and I can mix up off of this Oki. I could just loop it into the same throw if you just wake up and guard, and now you've already lost. See, that's 110 life. That's half your life for taking 2 throws. You have 220 life, by the way.
Okay.
So 110, that's half your life for 2 throws, right? Just instantly. Everything matters. All throws, all strikes, they all matter. So there's no substitute for just playing a lot, gaining experience, understanding when you have advantage and disadvantage, slowly learning the move lists of the characters. Like any Tekken player will tell you, at some point you got to know your punishes, right? This game is no different. There's a bunch of things that are punishable on guard. You'll eventually want to learn them. But then it's like, if you evade a 6P, you can have a plan for that situation. If you when you attack and your opponent responds with 2P, you can have a plan for this situation. Your goal is to make your follow-throughs, your reactions to these situations, as effortless as possible so that you flow from offense to defense, from defense to offense, from knockdown to Oki, from Oki back into another mix, back into Oki. And everything just goes round and round and round. And then when your opponent represents the choices that strictly beat your decisions, you switch up on them. Yeah.
Dang. Okay. No, man. All right. I think what I'm finding a hard time wrapping my brain around is just how fast this game actually is.
How fast it actually is. Like, you watch it and it doesn't seem like it's much, right? But then you think, oh, I have to input this. Oh, I have to input this. Oh, I have to input this. Oh, crap, I just got thrown. Here comes the Oki. I did a wake-up kick. He beat it. How did he beat it? Oh, I got to execute this. You're always pressing and you're always thinking. And so your practice is as important as your decisions. Mm-hmm.
Man, because what was really, and just to give you a window into like what my game plan when I first started learning this game was, I fell in love with Shundi's 1P, right? So my whole plan was just to harass people with that button until they got impatient, and then I just did 66K to do a launcher.
Right.
And at one point it stopped working, because people who knew how to play Virtua Fighter were just in like a completely different mindset.
Just completely
And
different.
that explains a lot of like it explains a lot of like what my frustrations were when I was playing, and it's because my game plan was not like valid, right? Because it didn't like hit on anything that I needed to hit on.
Yeah, effectively.
So
Yeah.
this is exactly what I needed, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But now let me ask you this:
Sure.
with having to take throws, and with like obviously like losing is going to be a lot of learning. One of the other huge issues I was having is the get up system. Like, how do I get up off the floor consistently, or like what are my options? Like, what is a good thing to do when you get knocked down? What's a bad thing to do when you get knocked down, etc.
Gotcha. Okay. So effectively, getting up off the ground is a multi-choice system. It reinforces the RPS of the main game, but effectively you have 3 meaningful choices when you're on the ground. One is, do I want to quick rise? If so, which direction? Number 2, if I don't want to quick rise, do I want to roll foreground, background, or away? And number 3, if I choose not to quick rise and I want to roll foreground, background, or away, do I want to wake up kick? And if so, do I want it to be mid or low? And there's reasons to do or not do any of these. So we're sort of in the extra innings, in the stoppage time, if you will. I consider like the basics explained. But if you have any other questions about the mechanics while we're here, feel free to ask me and I'll let you know. So when it comes to the knockdown system, and by the way, you can set the dummy to do these things. If you go to CPU settings and then advanced settings, here's where you can tell them to get up on the spot, to roll back. You can set it to random, which includes them just getting straight up. You can set them to do rising attacks, mid, low, and random. Random includes none. Rising speed, you can actually get up in place fast by mashing once you have chosen not to do a wake-up kick. I'll explain that a little bit more. But let's see. Let me actually do like a combo with Pi. Let's see. So here's like a standard combo that Pi might do. And the basic thing that you can do is you can quick rise. And it's right when your back hits the ground, and it's press P plus K plus G. You can quick rise in place. You can also hold down or up to quick rise into the foreground or the background. And this is how you get up quickly. I would suggest learn the time.
Is this bufferable like other stuff, or is it like, do you have to time this?
You have to time this. I believe the actual window is 4 frames. I read that on virtuafighter.com. I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but I sort of trust it. A lot of that information is really old. Boom, boom, boom. It's okay to double tap this, it's just P plus K plus G. A lot of pad players have a P plus K plus G button, I would suggest mapping that button if you do play on pad, because you're going to want to press this to quick rise. So you can quick rise in place or into the foreground, background. There is a weakness. The weakness is that when you quick rise, your opponent can see that you are not doing a wake-up kick. So just as an example, I'm going to re-record this on slot 3. Let's see. Let me find... I'll go with 3K. Okay, so when I quick rise here, let's see if I get this timing right. This 3K is right on top of me. So if you think your opponent's going to quick rise, you can represent an attack on top of them right when they get up. Because you can see the quick rise, there's no chance for them to do a wake-up kick. 1, 2, and they attack. I also want you to notice, I'm going to tap up as soon as I get up, and I'm going to try and evade this. I can't evade this kick. You see that? When
Is the only option to block it, or do you not even get to block it?
You actually have to block it. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so there's actually something even more interesting going on. Here's Pi's 3K. Look at the advantage. It's 0 on hit. That doesn't seem good, right? But if I play back this Oki situation, watch again. If I get hit, I'm -8. So this is because some attack... go ahead.
So it's just a meaty, right? Or is it?
No,
Like,
it's
is
not.
the get up property different?
Now, what you're thinking of, by the way, like 2D style meaties, where when you hit on like a later active frame, you get a bonus frame or two of advantage.
Yeah.
That is in the game. I just want to let you know that is in the game. It works the same way. So if an attack has 3 active frames and you catch with that last frame, you get a +2 bonus to the guard or hit situation. That's still true. But this does not have 9+ active frames. No. Rather, there is a subset of mids that have a crouch hit bonus. Unfortunately, this is not on the command list, but your general quick mid and then usually a couple of other mids have this bonus. So for example, here is Pi. If I normal hit with my elbow, I am +4. But if I set her to crouch, this becomes +8. Also, you can't throw someone crouching, right? But if you hit them with this mid that gives you that crouch hit bonus, that actually forces them to stand, so that mid throw is in play.
That's fucking crazy.
Okay. All of the generic quick mids, so for Shundi, your 6P will do this. It will stand the character up if you hit them crouching, and you get bonus advantage. You've probably noticed your 6P on regular hit is just like, who cares? But in a real Virtua Fighter match, it's unlikely for a 6P to normal hit. If both of you are actually attacking, defending, evading actively, if a mid hits, it's probably a counter hit or they crouched. Which means when your quick mid counter hits, you get this +8. And if they were crouching, you get this +8. If it crouch counter hits, it's the same. I don't believe one takes priority. I think the crouching takes priority than the counter hit. But the point is, you're going to get this massive advantage if you hit them crouching, which brings us back to the Oki situation. The disadvantage of always quick rising is if your opponent has practiced Oki, they can put a crouch hit bonus mid on top of you and make you deal with that, and you have to guard it because you can't evade it. And then it sort of becomes, I have to wake up with G, and then you're getting thrown to death. And there's more. Honestly, there's better examples of this. I would say another good one is Brad has a good one. But there's various mids that cause a crouching hit bonus, and those are really, really good things to go for on Oki. So we'll want to find out whether that is for Shundi. But in your move list, there will be a mid that gives a crouching hit bonus, and that's the basic way, that's the most effective way, generally, to attack someone who's always quick rising. So I'm going to set the dummy here to fall recovery, side roll back. By the way, there's an exact on some of these options, which just means that they get up on the first possible frame, and you need to do that to reduce the damage on some throws. Like, for example, Wolf has a giant swing, and if you don't quick rise that, it deals some extra damage. So that's what the exact tech is for.
Okay.
It also makes sure that they get up on the first possible frame. But let's say you knock them down. We're going to go for... to the back, please. Yes. Brad's ducking P+K starts a string. Duck P+K. Duck P+K. It's a 2-hit string, mid-mid. And you can get a combo off of it. But the idea is if you hit someone crouching with it, it causes a stagger. And this stagger makes the string way more hit confirmable. So anytime your opponent is crouching, you can represent this, and that's really, really strong, and you can get a big combo off of it. Brad's 2P+K also is the same thing. It's a quick mid that causes a stagger, and lets you do this, which is a nice hit confirm. Oh, there it is. Let's string these sequences together, shall we? Okay, so let's see. We've got side roll back. So let's say you land a combo. Let's say you go boom, 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 boom. You can duck and represent that mid and see that stagger. The dummy is set to standing. When they quick rise into the foreground or background, they are forced into that crouching state. So this is the disadvantage of always boom, 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 boom. Oh, see that? No stagger? So I was too late. I missed the meaty window. So this becomes part of your practice. Finding the mid that gives you the most benefit on these quick rises and trying to practice timing them so that it lands right on top of them. It has 2 benefits. One is the crouching hit bonus, but the other thing is they can't evade it. Because they can't evade it, that makes your offense more solid. Oh, see, that one was late. It's hard to see, right? It's almost impossible to see. I want to clarify that I don't have a setup for this. This is manual. I just have to duck and press P plus K at the right time. And because there is that spectrum of quick rise timings where they could wake up on the first frame or the fourth frame, it's difficult to have a setup that always works. Now, in this case, I have the dummy set on rollback exact. So if I find a setup that works on this, it will always work. But a real human might not tech with exact timing, and then you'll be too early.
Man, that's so crazy. I mean this in like the best way possible. That's so cool because it kind of like gets rid of a lot of those weird like checkmate situations.
Right, there aren't.
That a lot of other games tend to have.
There basically aren't any. There's that three. So the magic number here is 3. There is a 3-frame window when you're getting up from a quick rise where the only thing you can do is hold G, and you are considered crouching for those 3 frames. You can buffer like an attack, but it won't actually start until the 4th frame of you getting up. As a side effect of this, you actually cannot counter hit those 3 frames. So instead of doing the quick rise, another thing you can do is turn on counter hits. When you have counter hits on, like it'll counter hit, right? But if you time an attack properly, you will notice it doesn't say counter hit because you cannot counter hit those 3 meaty frames.
Gotcha.
So too early. Too early. Just right. Notice the +7, by the way. Again, this is that +7 counter hit, +7 crouch hit, just the basic quick mid 6P. It's important for everyone. Okay, so all of that was an offshoot.
Makes a lot of sense.
That is all the disadvantage of quick rising. And by the way, if your opponent has a low throws are in play because you're forced to crouch. Hoo-ha. So what quick rising in place doesn't have that weakness, but it has a worse weakness. The thing about quick rising in place is that depending on your knockdown state, you can actually, like right here, you see how I land like with my head towards him? If you quick rise in place on certain knockdown states, your opponent can actually get a free hit on your back. So quick rise in place.
I notice he like turns around, yeah.
Quick rise in place can be extremely dangerous if you do it haphazardly. Certain types of knockdowns, you just can get opened up to a free back throw or a free back strike, and then you're going to lose another 30-40% of your health. Now, I also want to be clear that that's sort of a fringe situation. It requires a lot of practice and foreknowledge. That doesn't happen a lot, and it's why when you watch high-level players play, they tend to quick rise into the background or foreground, and they tend not to quick rise in place. The other thing about it, just like a basic combo, is that when you quick rise in place, remember I mentioned there's like a 3-frame meaty window on foreground, background? The meaty window on quick rise in place is something ridiculous like 20 frames. There's like a gigantic window where you can't do anything except hold G. Your opponent gets all the time in the world to dash up in your face, make themselves a pot of coffee, make a sandwich, mayonnaise on the bread, ham, cheese, mayo on the other bread, put it together, take a bite, chew it, swallow it, sip a Mountain Dew, and then attack you. So quick rise in place, quick rising in general sort of opens you up, but quick rise into foreground, background at least has a tight timing window that you can sort of test if they've figured it out yet. Quick rise in place is just not great. Doing it once in a blue moon, if they start expecting the foreground, background quick rise, can maybe throw them off a little bit. But there's almost no advantage to quick rising in place other than to just maybe possibly throw off your opponent's rhythm. If you're thinking of quick rising in place, it may be a better idea to simply stay on the ground. And now we're going into further options. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so if your back hits the ground and you chose not to quick rise, you can roll in a bunch of directions. You can roll down, you can roll up, you can roll back. You only have to press G, by the way, G in a direction. You can also just press G by itself and you'll start getting up in place. See that? So you can get up in place as well. Let's see. Whether you are getting up in place or if you're rolling in any direction, you can then choose to add a wake-up kick. And the wake-up kick can be mid or low. For the low, you press 2K instead of K. Okay? And so this sort of becomes... And so I told you the reason why you don't want to quick rise all the time because of that meaty window that the opponent can take advantage of. So is there a good reason? Yeah. So what's the bad reason to stay on the ground? And the reason is because if you stay on the ground, your opponent can get extra hits. In fact, I have a better illustrative example for this. We're going to go for the story match here. Brad versus Aoi. If you choose to stay on the ground when Quick Rise is available, then your opponent gets to add extra hits. So here's like a basic knockdown combo that Aoi can do. But if you choose not to get up, then she can do this. You will avoid these hits if you Quick Rise. But if you don't Quick Rise, then you're stuck on the ground, and then you just take this extra damage. Let me show you what it looks like with Brad.
So even when you're grounded, you can still get pickups if you don't... if your opponent doesn't side roll?
That's correct. Let me see.
That's terrifying.
What's the one with Brad? Give me just a second here. 1, 2. We got 2 kg. I think 3k would work. What's the? I think it's 1k. Ooh, which one is it? Hold on. Might be this one. I apologize. This is something I have to think about. You know what? We can go with the double Aoi.
No, we're cool, man.
I've forgotten a lot of what I've learned about
cool.
Brad.
No, I'm good.
And obviously, with 19 characters, you know, your ability to memorize all this is it's constantly being tested and retested. That's with 19. You know, some people would say 19 is not a lot of characters, but yeah, it still is. But if you actually do this in training mode, you'll see the hit counter turn green. 2, 3, 4, 5, and notice the 3 turns green.
Oh, so that's basically like they could have teched, but they didn't.
Yes, like a gray or a black combo, like in Guilty Gear. Like they could have teched it.
Yeah, exactly.
But although they could have teched it, don't think this is worthless. If you get good enough at punishing and attacking their quick rises, then you will make them want to not quick rise, and then you can earn these. And then they'll quick rise again, and it goes right back into another mix-up, right? So don't discount green combos. Jean Cujo in particular has very strong green combo usage. He has lots of like little 2-hit combos that knock down, and he can pick you up with a 2P if you don't get up. And in Jean's case, he gets to add like 30, 40 damage onto like a bunch of his knockdowns. So you're constantly having to get up quickly against Jean. Otherwise, he just pummels you on the ground. So yeah, we have the situation where you choose to quick rise, but if you choose not to, then this is in play. So that's the reason that maybe you want to quick rise rather than not quick rise. But let's say they didn't do that, and now you have a choice of rolling or getting up in place. The key thing that most people start to have trouble with is the wake-up kicks. And the wake-up kicks are massive. They are gigantic. The idea is you have to be really, really far away to avoid them. Okay, look how far away I am. That still hits. You see that? We're like 3 characters away. You need to be really far away. So one thing you can do is sort of like jump away. And if they do a wake-up kick, it'll whiff. And whiff punishing is in play. You can totally like get something for that. So if you have like a long-range launcher, that's definitely something that you can try to do here. And then various combo follow-ups, right?
Okay, that also explains. I saw a lot of people jumping back on a knockdown, and that was not making sense to me until just now.
It's one of the only ways of avoiding the wake-up mid. What you'll notice about the wake-up mid is that the arrows appear. Do you see that arrow there? The circular arrow? This move cannot be sidestepped in either direction. The wake-up kicks are almost always full circulars, which means you can't like walk around them in the vast majority of cases. So you have to just avoid them based on their like the reach, their X coordinate, if you will. So dealing with wake-up kicks becomes a major issue when you're learning the game, and the first thing to do is just jump away. If they get up, then you're just back to neutral. If they wake-up kick, you have a chance of whiff punishing it. But going back to neutral, it feels like you're losing your advantage, right? It feels like, well, I just let them get up for free. Is there any better way to go about it? Yes, there is. One thing you want to start doing is just get close to them and try to block the wake-up kick. You're +6. Does that +6 number mean anything to you?
Oh yeah, mid throw.
Mid throw, and they can't move away from the throw. Blocking a wake-up kick earns you Nitaku. Hi, take 75, because Aoi's a grappler. But boom, well 70, there we go. And this way is, I think, 65? Oh, that's a counter hit. There you go. So blocking a wake-up kick gives you that Nitaku mix-up. So think about you block a 2P and you respond. Well, block a wake-up kick, then respond. In this case, this would be Aoi's counter hit mid, 4-3P plus K. So you can try to jump away and whiff punish the wake-up kick. You can try and block the wake-up kick. So this becomes a thing to practice is if the rising attack is set to say random, can you actually block them? Another trick is that the low wake-up kick tends to come out a little bit faster than the mid. So it's possible to like 2G and then based on the animation, wait just the right amount of time and let go of 2, and you could block both of them. It's also handy
so this is kind of like this game's version. This is kind of like this game's version of like a delay tech.
Yeah, sort of. If they're going to wake up kick, you can generally block both with really good practice. And then it's sort of like, is the kick coming? Oh, there it is. Okay. In fact, I'm going to turn off the display so that the arrows don't occur. Like, we don't want to see those arrows because then it makes it too easy to react, right? We only want to look at the kick animation. That's the low. That was the mid. You see that? So I have a lot of experience. I spent a lot of time labbing this when I was new to the game. And it's like, where is it? Where is it? Oh, and there it is. So you'll also notice if you're looking for the wake-up kick and you sort of 2GG, then, oh shit, now I'm guarding. Oh, pardon my French. Now I'm guarding, and they just stood up, and now we're back into boxing mode. So being able to react to them not doing a wake-up kick is also pretty important because everything is important. You see that? So now it's react to the mid kick, react to the low kick, react to nothing. Low, take your turn. Knock down, low, high, take your turn. See that? And this is why, like you might have thought when we were fighting, like, wow, he's on me on every knockdown. Because I can do this, wake-up kick won't get you away. With practice, you can shut down those wake-up kicks. And we're not even done talking about the options. There's more options. Being on the ground at disadvantage, thinking about wake-up kicking, is absolutely a disadvantage, just that all of the good counters take some practice, and so beginners or people unfamiliar with the series won't be able to do much of them. Wake-up kicks feel extremely strong and powerful because they're invincible all the way until their active frame. So you have to guard them or respond to them. So now we get to talk about trades and counters. And I'm really glad I have Aoi for this. Some characters have these 4P plus K, 1P plus K, 2P plus K counter attacks. These are similar to the attack reversals in Tekken. And the VF term for these is reversals, okay? And the idea is when you have these, they tend to work on things like punches, elbows, kicks, and knees, but they generally won't work on things like full circular kicks, jumping attacks, headbutts, shoulders, or double hand attacks, like this one from Aoi. Most counters in the game do not work on the wake-up kicks because the wake-up kicks are full circular kicks. And full circular kicks are a privileged attack class. They're not regular kicks, they're full circular kicks. It's a completely different attack class, and the vast majority of counters and parries just straight up do not work on them. Aoi is one of the only characters in the game that has a solid counter against it. So here's an example of why you might want to play this character. Because if she can anticipate the mid or the low, she earns a launch by countering it. That's 72 damage because you chose to wake-up kick. You know? Okay? But only Aoi can really do this. If we go back a second to Brad, Brad also has a unique counter, but he can also cleanly get us into the next example. Brad has this funky move, P plus K plus G. It doesn't seem to do much. But what this is a counter very specifically for mid kicks only. Any Zangief players? You know that counter he has that's mid kicks only? That's what this is, yeah. And this does work on wake-up kicks. So we have wake-up mid attack.
So this one's actually useful.
Yes. He eats it in his abs, and he gets plus 15. Which means he gets this, because this launcher is 14. The counter, by the way, is relatively instantaneous. Counters, sabakis, reversals, they're sort of their own discussion that we can talk about later, but most of them start in like 1 or 2 frames. Even when you're -9, they are still in play. You know, like they're not shut off by you being at heavy disadvantage. So if you know a mid kick is coming, Brad can always press this, and this includes on wake up. But you might be thinking, well, what about the wake up low? You can't, counter that, right? Well, Aoi still can. Aoi chooses based on the attack zone. She chooses to counter a mid or attack a low, but Brad can't do that. So for Brad, obviously he'll prefer blocking, but there's an attack that a lot of characters have that will get over the wake up low, the low crush. Okay, in Brad's case, it's 9p plus k. Oh yeah, and then we do, I think...
Yeah, Shundi, I think it's like... Shundi, I think, is like 9k or something. I remember looking at it. Okay.
Boom, boom. And he does get like a little mini combo off of it. I think there's like 1 or 2 hits he can add. So like there's a little green combo, for example. And a Brad player will, give you the optimal thing to do off of that. But some characters have these low crush moves. They usually start with a 7 or 8 or 9 motion. Shundi, in my chat, I'm being told is 6 kg. I think that's that handstand kick. Like that low crushes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you can use that to beat the wake up lows. So everyone can, again, let's review. You can always jump away and try to whiff punish them. You can always get close and try to block them on reaction, then take a +6 mix-up. And if you have a parry or a crush option, you can also represent those. And to be clear, everyone has low crushes. Even if you don't have a move like this, generic jumping attacks absolutely count for this. It's just a matter of finding the right one. It's probably going to be descending punch or descending kick a lot of the time. So you could just like jump, descending punch. Ooh, assuming you don't jump over them. And you can get like a little mini combo there too. In fact, it's the same thing as this one. So Brad will definitely prefer this one. Go has like the same kind of move on his 9p plus k. Akira likes to 9k, jump kick, right? You have low crushes, and then you may or may not have counters that apply. But even if you have none of those, you still have get away, you still have jump over the low and use a jumping attack, you still have block them and get +6. And there's even one more option. I'm gonna go back to my main for this one. So wake up kicks deal 20 damage. And they have a lot of startup. This is important because Virtua Fighter actually has a trade priority system. Have you ever seen 2 attacks trade in your matches?
Yes.
Yes. So trades are possible. You absolutely can both press the same button at the same time. You both get counter hit. But there's actually a priority system in play that determines what move wins when they collide on the same frame. In fact, you might have been curious about this, where I'll set the dummy to respond with 2p. If I press P and press my 14 frame mid, I'm +2 and doing my 14, right? So if I'm +2 and I do my 14, and they're doing a 12 frame, in a 2D fighter, these 2 attacks would trade, right? They would just both hit each other because they're hitting on the same frame. But clearly, Akira's 3P here is winning. And the reason is, here's the priority system. When 2 attacks collide on the same frame, the one that does more damage wins. Straight up. So, and
simple and beautiful.
And that's why also P and 2P are the lowest damage moves in the game, so that you can't really trade with them. You can't try to use them to trade with your opponent's pressure. If your opponent's pressure is timed right, if it's frame tight, they will not work because their attack will absolutely do more damage than a P or a 2P. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And actually, I'm remembering, I think in our match, I tried doing a wake-up kick, and you just murdered me with, like, it looked like a cross chop, and I was wondering, like, how that worked in this. Yeah, exactly that, yeah.
Exactly. So that is exactly what we're getting to here.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So let's see. So the trade system, it starts with damage. And then if 2 attacks collide on the same frame and they do the same damage, then the one with more startup wins. So if there's a slower move, but they do the same damage, then the slow one wins. If 2 attacks collide on the same frame, they do the same damage, and they have the same startup, but there is a life difference of over 50 points between the 2 of you, then the one with less life wins. And then, finally, if 2 attacks collide on the same frame, do the same damage, have the same startup, and the life difference between the 2 of you is less than 50 points, then they will trade.
Okay.
And this is why trading is rare, because all those conditions have to be true for 2 attacks to actually trade. And if you're actually using a lot of your move list, that's very unlikely to occur. So with this in mind, wake up kicks do 20 damage and have a lot of startup. So you need a move that does 21 or more damage, and you need to put it right on top of its first active frame, because all of the startup frames are invincible. That's this. So it's really, really hard. Here, I'm too early. Let's see here. And here, too late. And here, got it. See that? I wanna point out, this is really, really hard. It's effectively frame tight. You can see how many active frames are on your attacks. That's in the virtuafighter.com move list and the new official move list as well. There's a listing of those. So most characters will have a move or two that has like 3 or 4 active frames that does good damage. For Akira, it's this one. I believe it's 3 active frames on this. So the goal is, I'm landing my combos or whatever, and then I think you're going to wake up kick, and I can try and practice this. But again, I have to decide if I'm going to attack your quick rise. I have to react to you doing a wake up kick in place. Will you roll before you wake up kick, and so on. I can tell you with confidence that if you choose to not do a quick rise, but get up by rolling backwards and then do a mid wake up kick, I'm pretty good at timing that. I practice this a lot. You didn't get up? Okay, and here we go. Boom. Getting up, here we go. Boom. Oh, I was a little early there, because the face down, head towards wake up kick has more startup. It's animated differently. All these wake up mid and low kicks can change based on your knockdown position. So now we're getting into info dump territory again, but it's like the knockdown positions, face up, feet towards, head towards, those all matter. They all slightly change the animations and startups of the wake up kicks, which provides additional depth and makes it harder to always have setups. So this attacking with a meaty on the wake-up kick, it seems very attractive, but I just want to reiterate, the basic, most effective thing you can do is just try to stay close to them and try to block it. If you get hit by this, it doesn't hurt, and you're only -3. So you can still like 2G under a throw, you can fuzzy guard if you want, you have full defense, and it didn't hurt that bad. What you want to avoid is like getting counter hit by a wake-up kick, because then you are put in -6. Yeah.
And is there such a thing as like a wake up throw?
Wake up like from the defender?
Or is there just, yeah, like, so for example, if I'm waiting for somebody to do a wake up kick and I'm standing there and guarding, is there such a, like, is it possible to just get up and throw to punish somebody that's just holding G, or is that just way too slow and not worth doing?
Effectively, it's not good against someone who is practiced. I was mentioning earlier, it's like you knock someone down, you want to try and react to them like just getting up or not doing the kick. And so this is a drill that you should definitely do. Put rising attacks on random, and put getting up on random, and put fall recovery. Well, don't put fall recovery. Put that on none. So you know that they're not going to quick rise. This is sort of level 1, and your goal is to try and just see if you can actually respond when they don't wake up kick. See? If you were to, and by the way, if they wake up throw, remember, strikes beat throws. So even if they did the first 8 frames, if they did the first 9 frames of startup in their throw, but then you press a punch, you're going to win. So effectively, if you're on the ground and getting up and you're like, I'm going to take an aggressive action, the fastest, best aggressive action you could take is one of these like 1 or 2 frame counters if you got them, because those will be effective the fastest. Other than that, you just have to attack or throw and hope your opponent's not fast enough. You can also, of course, wake up and then try to evade, but that won't work depending on what their Oki is, if they try to throw you, and so on and so forth. So it all depends on the choices of, see, like I can try and throw you like right there. So if you're gonna get up, I'm gonna go with a mid. Oh, got it. Oh, right there I tried to super elbow, but I accidentally like pressed G too many times. I killed my buffer. See, so yeah. The knockdown situation is deep. It has tons of options. Being able to react to your opponent's options on the ground is the key to having a good offense, and it will take some time. It will take a lot of practice. But jump away from the wake-up kicks and try to whiff punish them, try to guard them, and take advantage of the +6 that you are given, and that's the basic way to start dealing with them. And then with practice, you can also start using counters when applicable. It's character-specific, low crushes, and meaty attacks. Ooh. Let's go with the wake-up mid.
Sorry, I was writing a lot of these down.
Whew.
So then the answer to, like, for example, if somebody is expecting the wake up kick, then the answer would just be to do or like, for example, you're trying to do the setup where you're trying to beat like, I'll prioritize the wake up kick.
Yeah.
The answer to that would be the quick rise and just guard, right?
Well, again, it will depend.
Or is that one of those things?
Well,
is that one of those things that you're able to like completely react to it? Like if I quick rise instead of just doing like a wake up kick, you're able to. I'm assuming this probably, for the people that I'm going to be playing against, this probably is going to be a little bit more or like less. The people will be less practiced at this and less aware.
Right.
But is it easy to react to like somebody doing a quick get up, or is it something where like mixing up those opportunities or mixing up those things is going to like trip you up?
Sure. Let me sort of give you the rundown of what I do as Akira, and this might give you some examples like of what to do with other characters. So you can actually set everything to random, and this is really helpful for trying to create like realistic match situations. But as an example, when I land a knockdown with Akira, effectively, what I am trying to do is pressure the quick rise, but then if the quick rise doesn't happen, react to that and try to react to all the possible follow-ups. So as an example, here is Akira's 4-6P plus K. You can quick rise this, and my goal is to try and put another one on top of you if you do so. But notice right there you didn't get up. So instead, I just take the down attack. Missing the timing. Boom, boom, boom. Ooh, a little early. Boom, boom, a little early. Boom. See, as you can see, it's really hard to attack this precisely, right?
And it's because of that reframe. Oh, I guess this.
It's because the window is only the three frames, right?
Oh, like is the CPU right now like randomly going into that reframe window, or is it like doing it?
Well, every single quick rise into the foreground or background causes it. Now it's supposed to also choose none, but I think none is like an infrequent choice because it's like one of like 10 options. See, like right there, now I'm gonna block and wait, and then I would try to respond. But if that were what happened in the match, if you woke up mashing, I probably would have got hit. Does that make sense? Like I was really slow on that, but that's sort of the goal. The goal of offense is to take advantage of the quick rise, but then be able to react if that's not what happens. So part of the problem is that I'm trying to attack the quick rise with my 4-6P plus K, which is a big slow move. So I could instead just try to attack the mid with 3P, just like a basic quick mid. Knockdown, quick mid. Oh, nothing. So now I can block, and now I can respond. Dash up. Oh, nothing happened. Take the down attack. I'll wait, and I'll respond. Got it. Knockdown. I'll try quick mid. Got it. Knockdown. I'll try quick mid. Got it. Knockdown. I'll try quick mid. Oh, wait. Block. Wait. Got it. React. You see that? My mind is constantly shifting from these things are possible. That's no longer possible. Now these things are possible. Those are no longer possible. Now these are possible. And I'm reacting to each phase of the grounded mix-up. Does that make sense? Meaty mid. Oh, didn't get up. Good. There's the kick. We have to respond to the +6. Okay, there we go. Meaty mid. Here we go. Meaty mid. Got it. Got the side. Let's go. Meaty mid. Got side. Let's go. Meaty mid. Good. Meaty mid. Good. Meaty mid. Good. Meaty mid, and so on, right? And the idea is if you don't quick rise, I will have a plan for that, and I will try to react to each of these options in turn. Oh, there it is, block, wait, go. See? I could react in time to the fact that there was no wake-up kick. You see? Because like there's a certain timing where wake-up kicks start. Like I saw there was no quick rise, then I saw that there was a roll into the foreground, and then there's a timing where the wake-up kick would start, and I saw that that did not happen. So I let go of G and I hit 6-6P. And that's what keeps the offense airtight, being able to react to each phase of the decision-making of the defender.
Got it. So as the person getting up off the ground,
Mm-hmm.
then you just have to kind of exploit like patterns and stuff, right? Like
You just got to defend properly.
since you're yeah.
Yeah. If they don't have good meaty pressure on quick rises, do your quick rises. If the quick rise in place confuses them and makes them miss up their pressure, then do that. If they are shown that they can pressure those 3 meaty frames on the quick rise into the background foreground, then it's still not bad. You can still block. You can still guess right. It just means that they'll get a bonus if they hit those frames. So wake up with G, and after you guard the thing, make the right choice. You could choose not to quick rise and spam wake up kicks. Do they show that they can jump back and launch it? Do they show that they can block it? And when they block your wake up kicks, do they do something with the +6, or do they always press 2p? Some people are like that. They block, and then they always respond with 2p. So do your wake up kick and then do your jump attack. Kick their ass. You know, the best defense is a good offense. So realistically, knockdowns are bad if your opponent, the aggressor, knows all this and is practiced, has good timing and good good awareness of all the things that you've done and not done and are ready for the shifts. If they have all that down and they're practiced, then knockdown is scary. Until then, it isn't. Test them out. Try all the options. Figure out what they're bad at and their responses after each of these things. Some people respond to blocking wake up low kick differently than when they respond to waking up, like blocking the mid kick. Some people are more sensitive to those sorts of adaptations than others. And that's where the psychology of the game comes into play. Some people are really good at responding to their mid, to a blocked mid with mid and throw. But then they're not good at responding to, say, like a blocked jumping punch from Akira with mid or throw. Or like the spacing will throw them off. So you have to figure out what they have not figured out and abuse it against them to throw off their sense of practice and rhythm. And that includes the grounded game.
And I think something that I'm very easily forgetting, and it wasn't until you pointed it out that I was like, oh yeah, that's right, is like the very first thing you said, where you even though, like, for example, if I do a quick get up and block your punch and you're at +6,
mm-hmm.
I'm still like actively making a decision after that. It's not like that's something that I have to remember. It's like I'm still like actively making a decision.
That's right.
Even after like the first step is completed. I think for me it's like when I saw the counter, or not the counter hit, but like a quick get. If I quick get up and you do the mid and you're +6, like in my brain it was like, oh okay, then that's the end of that situation and I'm in trouble. But I keep forgetting that it's like, oh no, I'm still like actively making decisions and doing stuff. Even though like even though the +6 is like the danger zone, as it were, for throws, I'm still like that, actively making those decisions and actively like can do something about it. So that's why, like, to me it was like, oh, if I get knocked down I lose, but it's not that. Okay.
It's really not that. It's just the same situation as standing up, figuring out what your opponent can and cannot respond with practice and flow. And like, are they experienced? Do they make you feel bad for your specific decisions, or are they just kind of doing stuff that you happen to be getting hit by? I think for any 2D fighting game player, there's an element of familiarity with that. Like, you can tell the difference between a good Ryu and a Ryu who just happens to be throwing fireballs at the right time, sort of by accident. Like, you'll knock them down and then suddenly you'll steamroll them. So testing your opponent's knowledge of each and every aspect of the game is absolutely the fast path to figuring someone out. How good are they at dealing with the wake-up kicks? How good are they at dealing with my +8 situations if I always go for throw there? Do they represent the -8 launcher? If not, +8 into throw all day, Because if they don't, if you're +8 and they 2p, you should think, well, I didn't throw their guard, but I don't care. All I ate was a 2p, Until they show you, oh wow, they're -8 and they launched me, and they did it twice in a game. Okay, they're playing. Next game I'll shift, So you have to analyze each of your opponent's decisions in all of these situations and decide which situations you want to capitalize on. And how you express that with your character is up to you, because there will be multiple mids and crushing attacks and various stance-based attacks that you can use based on how the flow of the match is going. So you have a gajillion decisions to make every game once you recognize, all of it is available to you.
Yeah, this is the hard part of I think learning this game is like simplifying it and then unsimplifying it.
Right, exactly. And like eventually you run into this point.
Situations requires
like just
go ahead,
if we're just talking about jab mid, right? Like just the basic pressure string, it leads into a situation where you're thinking, okay, now I want to do this throw or this counter hit mid. But then it becomes a thing like, can you confirm your counter hit mids? You know? So here's a good setting, guard or counter hit. Okay? Here's like another thing you can practice. Do your quick mid, and then if your quick mid is counter hit, do your counter hit mid. And then if the counter hit mid counter hits, then finish the combo. Oh, got it. Okay. Wall time. Whew. Oh, see, like right there, I failed. I like to use whenever I do a reaction drill, this is the other thing I like to do, is I like to set up a score system where if you correctly react, you get a point, and if you fail to react, you lose all points. So your goal is to get to like 15 or 20 or something. So it's like, okay, 1, 2, finish the combo, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and so on. And if you can get to scores of like 20, like 15 to 20 or so and up, then you can start like applying it in matches. Like I am reacting to this situation. Now I want to ask you this. How well do you think this works in 4 to 6 frames of input delay?
Not great.
Because that has been the state of the Virtua Fighter scene for the past many years. This is why rollback is so important.
Okay, so so that explains why. And I mean, I think rollback is important regardless in fighting games, right? Because it just makes for a better situation. But I think, yeah, I knew rollback for Virtua Fighter was a good idea. I didn't know it was this important. That's crazy.
Yeah, like being able to react to the common situations is so critical because it really decides if your +8 frame advantage actually means anything. Like if you 6P and be like, oh, there's the counter hit, and it's like, oh, it's my turn now. That counter hit attempt right there would have lost to a 2P because of that massive weight. Like you see that there was like a 38 frames I was holding G. That's way too long. So it's like what Virtua Fighter also represents is constantly making you react in 20 to 30 frame windows. Constantly, like all the time. Until someone gets knocked down, but then you're reacting to these options that could lead to having huge, terrible consequences, like whiffing a wake-up kick. You see what I'm saying? So you're going to be constantly thinking and making decisions roughly every 20 to 40 frames if we're boxing and exchanging. And if we get far away, now it's just a question of when is neutral going to collapse? You know, if it gets to this point where it like, oh, we're playing Tekken now. Well, what do you want to do? You can't move and guard. So do you want to like inch forward? You can cancel a forward dash into guard, but that's it. You can't guard with any other movement. But if you're doing this, you're not moving. You're not going to be able to like whiff punish or like all you can really do is like inch forward. So you might as well just like run forward and jab. But they might toss out a launcher. So you might want to stay away. But if you're staying away, now you're not doing anything. The round's 45 seconds. Do you have a life lead? What are you going to do? So it's like just run up and do something. So there's this KOF feeling of the neutral only exists if the players allow it to exist. Because mechanically, it's not really there. You know, I won't say that there isn't a neutral, like especially as Aoi, you can like toss this out, 3-3 P plus K, for example. Once in a while it'll land, you get a nice clean, 72 damage. That's good. That's about a third of a life bar. That's great. But this move is punishable for this reason. That's minus 13. And it's also linear. So if your opponent has a really good sense of timing of when you like to toss stuff out, they could just sidestep and launch this. I'll give you the example. If I know when it's coming.
This is exactly what was happening with my. Simplified game plan that I was trying when I first started playing the game. So this makes a lot of sense now.
If I know that that's coming, this is the punish. Oh wait, let's go.
Yeah.
It's hard to do this one. There we go. In fact, I can sidestep, get my own 3-3 P plus K. So It's like, this is all guaranteed if I can see and evade that. So am I looking for that in the neutral? Am I that good? That's what you have to figure out about your opponent. And there's absolutely ways of demonstrating your skill in the neutral, but it's just way harder to control and command because of how open it is, and because you don't have fine control of your movement. And in order to guard, you have to stop moving. And if you want to evade a strike, you have to evade, but then someone could just run up and jab that. You know? So that is sort of why that is why Virtua Fighter always happens around range 0, is because this is the situation that is controllable and reactable. This situation is not that. This situation is wide open and dangerous.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. You can avoid damage. You could certainly try to timer scam, but that's about it. Everything else is just completely wide open and loses to like run up jab, run up sweep. Constantly backdashing is risky because backdash actually has a counter hit state on it.
Yeah, I learned that pretty fast.
And then there's this. That used to be a stagger break. In the new patch, it's not. Now it's just plus 100 or some crap. And you can just do whatever you want. Yeah. In fact,
also,
yeah.
Let me ask you this: on the meter, or not on the meter, on the data on the bottom left there,
yes.
The hits, damage, execution, advantage. I noticed that sometimes the advantage there's like they're in different colors. Does that matter at all or no?
The color is indicating that something is guaranteed. So, for example, it'll show the white number up to +9, but this +10 turns green because it's like, oh, we're in guaranteed territory now. Now, +10 means you get a guaranteed throw attempt. Unfortunately, I think due to range, this does not work. But the color changes when it's like something is guaranteed here. You're going to get a throw or a strike or something. I believe it turns to blue at higher advantages. Let me think here. Yeah, +9 on counter hit. Yeah, this is +12, so now a strike is guaranteed. And if you get this on side, now it's +15 back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so on. Oh, too early.
Okay, so this would explain why. Okay, this makes perfect sense. That explains why that 1P for Cindy is not as good of a button as I thought it was, because you can get, because I think it's -10.
Yep.
So you can get like.
Well, actually, Shundi's 1P is sort of special. Like if you've actually noticed how far attacks push away in this game, it's actually not much, So like when we're talking about the core boxing, jab actually steps you forward. That's new in the patch. There used to be 2 different jabs, but now they make all jabs these step forward jabs. 6P, you're still there. 2P, you're still there. Your counter hit mid, oftentimes you're still right there, right? If we talk about the basic boxing tools and even a bunch of strings, they don't push away too far. Notice this KPK, it puts us over here. Granted, that's -13, so that's jab punishable, but there might be some strings where it's like, you might be able to get further away. So this is like a key move with Aoi, and you can find these moves with other characters. This move is -6, but it doesn't put her in Nitaku because she's out of throw range. You see this? So this has significant pushback where this -6 is a lot safer than other -6s. That's why this is a good move for Aoi on the opponent's wake up. If the opponent gets hit by this, she can press P+G on the second hit. And that is 60 damage just for a normal hit mid. Ba-boom. And that's really good. But if they were to block this, then it sort of pushes them away safely. So when I need a good reward on a normal hit with Aoi, I go for 4-6P. She also has this one, and it's also -6, but look at the range. This puts her in Nitaku on guard, you see? So with just these 2 mids that have the exact same frame data on block, they are 4 different things. And by doing a similar analysis of your move list, you end up making, you end up curating your decisions even further. Let's see here. What were we talking about before that? The colored frame advantage numbers.
Yeah. Hold on, my brain's working. Damn it.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, this is a lot of really, really good information. And it sucks that my brain is slow, so I'm not gonna be able to like absorb and apply this immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is one of those things where it's like the mindset of this game is just so different than other games I've played, and it's so interesting. Oh, actually, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
EX highs and EX lows.
Yes.
Assuming EX lows, actually no, I know for sure EX lows probably work like Tekken, where you can block an EX low standing.
That is exactly what an EX low is.
The same thing where you can. Is high the same thing where you can block it crouching?
No. So let me start by saying there's
or
EX.
Not block it crouching. Sorry.
Right. So EX highs are special. EX highs are special, but EX lows and mids are kind of the same thing. Both EX lows and EX mids. Here's Owly's PPPK. Both EX lows and mids can be guarded standing or crouching. And the reason an EX low is still a low is because you can get over it with like a low crush or something. An EX mid, if you do actually crouch, I want you to listen for the sound effect. It makes a specific sound effect. It makes that snap guard break noise. Because if you're actually crouching and someone does an EX mid, it stands you up. Generally, this is an advantage. This is like a disadvantage. But also notice that when I do this string, I'm still -5. So the idea is this string has like a low sweep on it and this EX mid ender. But by guarding low, you defend against both of them because the EX mid will still give you +5. Does that make sense? It's not a mid because it won't hit you. It'll just pop you up like that. There, I believe with Lao has an EX mid that gives him an advantage because it actually stands you up into a natural combo. So with EX mids, it can depend on the character, but EX lows are just worse than lows, and EX mids are basically always worse than mids, outside of a couple of corner cases. Now EX highs are highs, which is to say you can duck them. So here's an EX high, and you can duck them. But an EX high has a special property, where if you are during the startup or recovery frames of an attack in a crouching state, then an EX high will not miss. So to be more specific, if you think your opponent might try to like mash a 2P at disadvantage, an EX high will just counter hit them because they're in a crouching state and attacking. So let's go for the recording.
Also, this is basically like an anti-mash tool then. Well, anti-2P tool.
It's an anti-crouch tool, but another way to think of it is it beats anything that would normally high crush. Like a 2P normally high crushes because you're crouching, right? Akira's 1P, he sort of teleports backwards really quickly, then comes forward and hits you with his forearm. That is a high crushing move. An EX high will beat it. So EX highs beat moves that would normally get under highs. So when you have an EX high, it's extremely useful. Probably the most common example for this will be Vanessa and Brad. One of Vanessa's counter hit tools, rather than being a mid, is an EX high, but it will still beat Mesh because it's an EX high. If it were a regular high, it wouldn't work. Block, respond, EX high. Notice it still catches, right? But that's because they were mashing. If they just crouched and didn't mash, then that would be no big deal. Offensive style. Boom. Respond. Nice. Whew. There's a lot, isn't there? So I'm glad we're really doing this. I don't mind doing these sorts of streams, and obviously you had a lot of questions, but there's also like a really long YouTube video that Dandy J made many years ago that explained the mechanics, and there's like a lot of similar stuff going on in that video. But this is exactly what I don't want my YouTube videos to be. That's why I'm making them in these 5-6 minute chunks, and the plan is for there to be about 9 or 10 of them to basically go over everything we've discussed today. And then it's a question of if I want to make more after that. But, you know, obviously it's a lot, but it's all about just taking it at your own pace, playing the characters you think are most fun, and just slowly applying the mechanics as you learn. But there's knockdowns every game. There's opportunities for side advantage every game. There's opportunities for ring outs and catch throws every game. There's no meters. Other than Shundi's drinks, there are no meters in Virtua Fighter, so like everything is in play all the time. which isn't even true for Tekken now that they've added the heat system. It used to be true. Now it's not even true.
Yeah.
So, the idea is the entire game is available all the time, which makes it feel overwhelming. The important thing is that you're having fun. If you're enjoying your character, enjoying mashing, sort of picking up bits as you go and you stick with it, then Virtua Fighter, in my opinion, ends up being the most rewarding fighting game experience you can possibly have, because it's constantly giving you feedback on how fast you are, how well you think, and how well you flow. And not even KOF did that for me. At the end of the day.
Now here's another question, and this is going to sound like a loaded question, but I don't mean it as such. Are there characters that make these game systems more easy to learn, or is it just a case where like every character plays well with the system, so you can learn the game with any character?
The system always wins, so a beginner should focus on learning the system with their favorite character, is what I would say. Okay. Pick whatever character you like that makes you enjoy the game. Now, what's funny is today, the Sega website actually came out with their list of recommended characters for beginner, intermediate, and advanced players. I'm going to try and pull up that list and show it on my stream, actually. Where did I put it? Some True Startering, best of. Where did I put it? Not sure which character to choose. There we go. I'm going to pull it up on my stream here.
Okay. Oh, also, Pathos from my chat is asking if you've watched the Virtua Fighter anime.
I haven't seen it, no.
I guess there is one.
I need to see it. Yeah, they made one in the 90s.
There is one. I didn't know it existed either.
It's very classic. It looks like Tenchi Muyo. Like, it's old. Well, I mean, old for some people. Okay. Maybe not old for me. So this is actually an image that Sega posted today. They recommend Brad, Jackie, Jeffrey, Pai, Lau, and Taka Arashi for beginners. And they recommend Akira, Aoi, Shun D, and Vanessa for advanced. Everyone else they say is intermediate. I more or less agree with this list. More or less. I know why they put Aoi in advanced, but I don't agree. And I know why they put Lau in beginner, but I don't agree. But there's room to disagree. In fact, yesterday on my stream, I mentioned, I think Taka, Pai, and Jeffrey are good for beginners. I wouldn't have put Brad in beginners because he has 3 different stances that can all flow into each other. And I feel like for a beginner, sometimes they get so attracted to that idea, they make bad plays. But maybe Sega says, having a big move list and wanting to do cool moves is not a problem. Let the beginner do that. So that's why they put Brad there. But effectively, as long as you are having fun and the character motivates you to keep learning, that's the most important thing. But the characters that me and Sega agree on is that Taka, Jeffrey, and Pai do a lot to simplify the game, either because they're safe or they have big moves, or they have like plenty of tools that don't kill themselves. Like, for example, Eileen is really fun and interesting because she's almost like a 2D fighting game character. Effectively, what she is doing is she actually has kind of 2D fighter special moves. And she has a bunch of moves that can go into any of them. So when Eileen does 3P, she can cancel that into 6P plus K plus G. Or she can cancel that to 236P, or 236K, or 236P plus K, or 236K plus G, or 214P, or 214P. You see what I'm saying? So she can cancel these moves into this array of specials. That gives her so much variety that she is a queen of mix-ups, but she's a lightweight character, and you need to do a lot more lab work before canceling into a random special is actually a solid offense. Does that make sense? So I wouldn't recommend Eileen, and I'd put her in advanced rather than intermediate. But, so me and Sega will disagree on this, but like at the end of the day, it's just like, pick who you think is fun. And if I told you stay away from these advanced characters, it would be Akira, Shundi, Vanessa, and I would add Eileen to that list and pick anyone else. But I think Aoi is fine if you're a beginner. You just learn earlier what counters are good and bad at. Aoi has like the best array of counters in the game. Like, most characters cannot counter a somersault kicked. Most characters cannot counter a headbutt, but she can. So when she's at minus frames, she's a little better than most characters at making you second guess your choices, because even the moves that are not supposed to be able to be countered, she can counter them. And then she can counter those full circular wake-up kicks too. So she's like the queen of making you second guess which is where her offense comes from, because then she starts stealing turns and all this other stuff. So I think that that's sort of basic, just beat a move with a counter, and so I don't consider that super advanced, but, you know, yeah, ask other Virtua Fighter players too. They'll disagree with me as well. The game is deep enough and open enough and sort of gray area enough that there's bound to be disagreement on this. In fact, Akira being an advanced seems sort of odd. If you look at the total number of moves that exist in the game, Akira has one of the smallest move lists. So it's like, well, why is Akira on the list if he has the smallest move list? Well, because Akira has a very limited move list. He has no full circulars, not a single one, so he just has to throw more or delay his attacks more. His half circulars are very specific. He does not have a quick half circular that covers his back. He only has a quick one for his chest. His basic boxing attacks involve multiple directional inputs, so you have to practice executing that. Some of his attacks have great range, and then a lot of his other attacks have terrible range. Akira has very few 2 and 3 hit strings, and so on and so forth. So Akira is forced to play in a very specific way where he attacks you if you high guard and attack you if you crouch. And Akira, more than other characters, really needs to have that Oki mix-up stuff down. Otherwise, he'll let you wake up with evade. This actually happened in me versus my Denkai match. Denkai was constantly testing to see if I had the meaty pressure. And when he saw that I didn't, he woke up doing stuff. And I had to constantly try to answer for each of those. So now I'm changing my Akira combo practice so that I'm making sure I get the meaty frames every single time I get a knockdown. So I can constantly flow and prevent players like Denkai, who are that smart, from wiggling out of my knockdown mix-ups, right? I have to do all this extra work because I don't have a full circular I can put on top of them. You know what I'm saying? So it's either just guess better or get really good at these fine technical mechanics. Otherwise, your Akira is not great. And that's not even counting the guard break sequence, which takes practice and like experience to work it into your game plan. Like the high guard break with all those fancy inputs, it has like 17 frames of startup. It's kind of slow. Working a 17 frame high into a game plan means you need to freeze your opponent. You need to break their mental stack. That means you need to be really good with the mids, counter hit mids, and countering their evades. You need to make them feel like holding G is the only option. And then you go, 2! And you take away half their life bar because they chose to stop in that moment. That's really hard.
Yeah.
Akira is hard to actually get your opponent to freeze because of all the work you have to do because of his limited move list. And that's why he's not recommended for beginners.
Also, it's very comforting to see that list because I did feel like maybe I picked wrong, or not necessarily that I picked wrong with Shundi, but I saw like how many stances he had, and like all of the options he had, and it did feel a little overwhelming. And Jeffrey was gonna be my backup, but I just kind of stuck it out with Shundi, and I think once the full game comes out, I'm definitely gonna be learning old Jeffrey up there.
Yep, Jeffrey is a ton of fun.
Just because I think, I think just the thing that I got very caught up on in this game was something that kind of like was not correct from a game plan perspective, just because this game works so differently. So I'm very curious. Would you be down to do like another like quick first to 3?
Yeah. We can do that.
With the change in philosophy, as it were.
Sure, we can do that. We can play as long as you want. Let me see. Let me pull up the game. I'll make another room.
All right. And I think after this first to 3, I do need to go. But with that said, I'm gonna sleep on this and wake up tomorrow wanting to play. So I'm probably gonna be buying this on PlayStation.
Sure thing. And then the Steam version, I believe, is on sale. I think it's like $13 or something.
Yeah, I bought it.
Like
Yeah, I didn't even know it was going to be that cheap. That's crazy.
Okay, so the code again is 6969.
I was expecting to pay like... Yeah, I was expecting to pay like, I don't know, like $60 for the game, but it came out just being like $13. It's crazy.
Yeah, like I'm really happy like at the price point they chose. It's just $20 at full price. Let me see. You're coming in as red bars. I hope that shifts. Let me...
Oh, it looks all green on my end.
Okay. I wonder if we'll have one-sided rollback. That's sort of... Oh, and now it's green. Good. Let me check my rollback setting. I set my frame delay to like 3. That's like an average number. Yeah. But no, our matches were good, so I'm not worried at all. One feature that they could add is like showing you the ping in the room so that we can like adjust to the delay before each match. That'd be nice. But we'll see.
Yeah.
see how you did PP into backdash? It's like, why?
It's just habit.
Exactly, right? It's that 3D fighting game habit of like, I have to get away from them. No, you don't. You could just guess right in my face. You know? Now, granted, if you have a plan, like, I think he'll 2P and I'm going to backdash and whiff punish it, then it's good. But what is your plan, you know?
That's the question.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. Okay. Caught me stepping. Very good. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta get used to buffering movement and holding down G.
Ooh. Nice. You were keeping up your offense, and I wasn't sure like how to defend. So I'm like, oh, let me try fuzzy. Let me try 2P. Got counter hit. Okay. So like
honestly,
I'm
like
shifting.
even though I'm still getting my ass kicked, this feels so much better because it feels like I'm understanding the interactions a little bit more.
Exactly.
Whereas before, it just felt like I was getting steamrolled. And I was like, I don't know what I'm learning. But now that like I kind of understand like the basic decision making, like this is such a huge, crazy difference.
See, you had that advantage on that 4P, and then you didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, I still gotta learn.
Nice. Counter hit mid, throw. Right there, I noticed no
back throw, right?
That's the back throw. Yep. The one with the combo.
Okay.
Side throw. Ooh. Dropped it.
Was that the fuzzy guard?
Yes.
That you ducked under?
Exactly.
Okay.
Good recognition. So whenever you see the quick mid elbow, I'm only -5, so I can fuzzy under the throw response. Ooh, nice jab. Ooh, nice backdash.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm understanding.
Ooh. Oof.
My brain is working.
There you go. So,
It's happening.
So
I'm learning.
now that you know the mechanics and you sort of know what each moment is for, now you start thinking at this pace. Now what you do in training mode will change, and now how you think about your opponent's decisions will change. And this is where the game starts. And then you start looking at your move list.
The problem with me is like, the problem with me is like figuring out figuring out the timing of everything. And keeping up, because it gets to a point where I make a decision and then I have to already make another decision, and by the time I recognize that, like, the game's over.
And that's the flow. Yep. The decision needs to go into the next decision.
Oh, I tried to stay in so hard.
Neutral throw. There you go. Nice.
So I'm getting crumpled there because that's a counter hit, right?
Yes. So you either pressed the button or you were in a backdash.
Okay. Man, it's taking I'm shying away from fighting face to face, right? Just because I'm so used to something like Tekken, where you're immediately like just backdashing.
You're used to the spacing game being
that's
so
gonna be-
important for safety. You are in control of your safety because there's a guard button. You know, it's not about how far away you are. It is about just guarding the strikes. That puts you at risk for throws, but you cannot avoid the guessing aspect of the game. Embrace the RPS. Just say, I'm going to attack, and I think that he will attack, so I'm going to hold G. And if you're holding G, you might as well also hold P, because then you're escaping that neutral throw, remember? Mm-hmm. So, and then it becomes...
Want to do one more?
Yeah, sure. We can play as much as you want. And then it's if you strike and I guard it and you think I'll strike back, you could evade there, and then you get frame advantage. But what will you do after the evade succeeds? Will you recognize the successful evade in time, and so on?
Yeah.
I evaded. How? And that was too slow. Nice. Nice guard. Shit. Thought I had it. Nice. Nice. Okay. Nope. Got it. Ooh, nice job throwing me up to the fuzzy. Very good. Right there, I said...
We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere.
I said, I'm going to 2P, and he's going to respond. And you hit 1P, and that's a low punch, so it got countered. Whereas if you would have hit any mid or throw, you would have won. That counter doesn't work on any mids or throws.
Yeah, okay, I'll back in there, so I got to stop doing that.
Okay. Damn it. Shundi, get a hitbox. Oh.
Okay. What's interesting is usually with fighting games, I find that. Oh, well, that didn't.
Nice.
With fighting games, I find that the more I learn, I kind of get too caught up in it. But this is completely different.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the more I'm learning about the system, like the more interesting this is getting, which I am not used to.
Oh, there you go. There you go. You might be a VF player. Who knows?
Yeah, you got me. You got me. Tell Sega to get you. Tell Sega to get your. What's that called? The commission.
Oh boy. Nice. Ooh. Nice. Throw. Ooh, you gotta throw us first. Good shit.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Nice. Oh, got it. Okay. So like this is a common weakness. This is like a common weakness that happens at this level is you think of the boxing as super critical, so it ends up that a lot of your responses end up being like P and 2P sort of a thing, right? And so that's another thing to like slowly work in over time is like, how do you take an effective turn without pressing P or 2P, you know? And like slowly finding out more moves in your move list that do like similar things and so on and so forth, so.
Yeah. No, and I think something that I need to figure out too is Alright, I evaded properly. Happy.
Ah, fuck. Nice. Nice.
Okay, I lost.
Yep. It can feel in the neutral
yeah,
like I need
just...
to do something. I need to do something, right? But you ended up tossing out something block punishable. So it's like, you know, should you stay in neutral longer? Yeah. Should you run up jab? Is that too obvious? You have no control of the neutral, and so it's weird. It's dangerous.
Yeah, no, and I'm finding a lot of habits. specifically with backdashing that are getting me in trouble, which that's gonna take a lot of time for me to unlearn, just from other games.
Don't try to get away. Just try to guess better. Nice. 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 Very good. Oops, something just fell down in my house.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Okay.
You alright though?
Yeah, no. Yeah, okay, yeah. Something fell off my wall. I didn't glue it right.
Oh, okay. So that doesn't autocorrect like that. Got it.
Nope.
Damn it. I'm so bad at remembering to hold P while I'm holding P.
Oh, it's a high. Okay. No, got it. Nice. Very good.
Yay! I won a round. It's over. All right, we're good. I can go bed. I can go to bed happy.
And this is actually one of the strengths of Shundi. He has a very established like keep away game that a lot of characters don't really have. He has more moves that like push away than like other characters. And this is part of like his game plan is to like push them away and like get a drink, land a combo, and put like a drink at the end of the combo, sort of a thing. It's great. You know.
Okay, so what you're doing there is you're just doing a punch parry, right? That punch parry, right?
Yep.
And I keep falling into it because that's what I'm defaulting to when I want to start pressure.
Yep.
Okay.
That beats P, K, 2P, and 2K in basically every matchup. So if you respond with a mid or a throw, you will beat that. It won't beat any mids or throws.
Okay.
So that's just
Let's
like
do one more, and then I'm gonna go.
Sure. So like for example, that's my confident read at disadvantage. If you do any of these things, I get a combo even though I'm minus, right? So I'm being minus and choosing to do that. But if you would do like your counter hit mid, for example, that would like make me pay for that. But we're really just using enough throws, and I can't really do that at all. Nice. See, at the end of that round, I blocked your P and then I 2P'd. You know? So how would you win if I block your P and then I 2P in response? Nice. Nice.
Wait, so your grab didn't work there because I pressed the button, right?
Yes. Oh, it's bad. It's 10. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, it's just a lot of decision making very fast, which is surprisingly unique, I think.
It's unique. That's correct. I'm sad that it's unique. I wish that more fighting games would just let players fight, if that makes sense. I do think that in a lot of modern fight, like now that I have played Virtua Fighter, my opinion on fighting games in general has changed. And it's just, you know, I feel like a lot of mechanics
I think mine is changing too, to be honest.
they get in the way of players fighting. You learn all this, and then there's like 2 or 3 basic RPSs in a round on Oki, and that determines the winner. But there's so much going on here that determines who wins, you know? Everything matters, and everything is like on a knife edge. 10. Okay.
Yeah, I keep backdashing out of habit.
What can be really weird to think as well is I just did a string that's minus, but I'm gonna attack again because it's the right thing to do. You know, it's such a weird thing to say, but you have to say it constantly in BF. Oh, there we go. And that 6 PP string is really critical, just because it's like double mid. It's technically like throwable. Like if I actually block both hits, I can get a throw punish, but I'm not actually successfully blocking both. And as you can see, if I'm trying to block the second one, it's like it's plus. You can just steal a turn. Nice. Just 6Ping enough is really like critical.
Ooh. I didn't mean to do that, but it made me look like a genius.
I'm like, wait, wow, nice jump. Jumping doesn't suck either. On almost every 3D fighting game.
I take the credit for that. I know the lesson you're trying to teach me there, and I understand it. I just can't do it right now.
No worries. As long as you understand, that's step 1. That's step 1.
Yeah.
And I'll be clear, if you like did, cool. if every time you far away from me, you got a drink or two, that would scare the hell out of me. Like once you start learning how to use the drink moves, this character's it's psychotic. This character is demonic. I hate this character, and then he got a ton of buffs. So. Wow. Very good. Wow, perfect. I ducked and I stood into the throw.
So I thought I was holding block there, but I got staggered. Was that?
No, that's a guard crush. Yep.
Or was I just not?
That's one of Akira's benefits. Like this move right here. Watch it. If I do that and input the sequence, you lose 70 health if you're stand guarding.
Okay.
So that's like one of his major benefits.
Got it.
Is he can destroy stand guarding like that. He used to have another guard break that he would prefer in that situation, but that one was nerfed. This one. So like that's just another guard break. But he doesn't get as much off of it as he used to.
Got it.
Whew. See that? Or like think about like right there, I ate PP, and it's like, why would he launch there? Well, why shouldn't I launch there? Are you going to hit me from your advantage? Are you going to string your attacks together?
I'm just running away like an idiot.
You know? So like it can feel a bit, you know, awkwardly brainless to be like, I'm just going to attack a lot. But the fact is that beats what a lot of people do at low level, just attacking a lot. And it works pretty well at the mid level too. People are like, they'll block eventually. I'll get this throw in. Nah, yo, launch again. So it's like just figuring out when they guard and when they evade and when they're actually blowing you up for the choices that you're making. That is when you have to change. So like really at these low levels, I want to point out like jab into mid, into mid, into mid, into mid, into mid, 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 throw, 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 throw. That's where you start the game from. Just mid and throw all day. And then you can start adding more fine-tuned applications. Like, okay, I got this mid. I have this advantage. Let me go for the counter hit mid. Practice that combo. Practice confirming into that combo. I evaded, I have this side situation. Can I get better pressure on side? What are this character's options on side? Do I get anything interesting on the side throw? Look into that. I got this knockdown. What's my option for beating the wake-up kicks? If I jump away from the wake-up kick, what's my launch? You know that cartwheel move you used a few times that I blocked and punished every time? That's a great move for punishing wake-up kicks if you're far away. That's what that move is for.
Yep.
You know?
I tried to do it once, but I didn't space it right.
Yeah, right. So, you know, yeah.
But I think just the fact that I was able to kind of recognize that, I think, is a testament to your teaching of this game, and B, that this game is learnable.
It absolutely is. Yeah. It's a lot of mechanics, but all the mechanics are there in place to encourage the players to fight each other and to guess a lot. That is the purpose of all this junk, of all of this learning up front. So just to any new players or existing fighting game players who are curious about what makes Virtua Fighter different, it's the mechanics are so dense that you are constantly put into these situations where you have to engage with what your opponent is doing. There are oftentimes one or two specific right answers you need to represent. Like another common pain point I'll hear is like, I have advantage and then they 2P. I have advantage and then they 2P. Why can't I win? And it's like, use a mid. Advantage into another high doesn't work. Advantage into a low won't work unless it's 2P. Advantage into a throw won't work. 2P beats throw. If you have advantage and they're going to strike, you need to strike with the advantage. If you have advantage and they're going to step, you need to circular or throw. So in the same way that you can try and force defensive options out of someone with your offense, a good defense can force certain offensive options out of the aggressor. And it's a constant back and forth that makes the game almost impossible to see in real time, but eventually, with skill, with practice and experience, you start to see the lines, you start to see the frames, so to speak. The game starts to slow down, the decisions make more sense, and then you and your opponent are having these Dragon Ball Z fights, and everyone's trying to figure out what's going on. But you can see Goku and Cell and be like, yeah, I see it, yeah. You know, once you can see with your eyes what's actually going on, there is so much information on the screen. It makes sense why there's no meters. There doesn't need to be any. All the information is there, you know?
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. No, and Juicebox, first of all, I want to thank you for taking the time to get tricked into teaching me this game, because this was awesome. And like, like the tutorials about, like, the tutorial wasn't bad, but like having somebody to explain the mindset of this game, right, and just how different it is from other fighting games, I think is like super duper important, and I think that's gonna help set myself and hopefully, you know, anybody else that watched and wanted to get into this game, well, it'll help set everybody up for success and like give people like the building blocks to get somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. This was really fun. This is what I love to do. Even since like the Street Fighter 4 days, I learned early on that like teaching the games and just getting people to understand them is something I'm really passionate about. It's something I like to do. I'm going to look into doing more commentary sorts of opportunities for this game in particular after like Revo comes out and there's more, you know, community run events and so on. I want to shout out the Akai Leagues. Akai is one of the Twitch streamers right now who's very accepting of like players of all skill levels, and every week they have like a Europe League, a North America League. I'm curious if they're going to run other leagues. That's currently active on PlayStation 4 and will probably still be active until Revo actually comes out if you want more experience. The PS4 version is also really important because it has the balance changes, so you can still mess with this current version of the game while we're waiting for Revo to come out on Steam. But I've loved fighting games a long time, but I've always wanted to get more people to understand them. And Virtua Fighter in particular has been like, okay, this game is so dense, I'm just gonna have to work harder to get people to understand. And I think I really want to do that. Like, so that's why I'm making the videos. Again, the plan is for about 10-ish videos that go over roughly everything we talked about today, just in a different order. Effectively, and more organized, you know, less off the cuff and all that. So, you know, keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I'm extremely excited for the game's future.
Where's the best place for us to find that? Is it youtube.com/juicebox_FGC?
I believe so. Let me double check. I'm not even sure what my YouTube link is anymore. Oh man. There's like a link under my Twitch. Just click it. It's whatever. Let's see.
Okay. Okay. No, that's fair enough. But what I really enjoyed about learning both this game and learning this game reviews, like there are so many of those like aha moments where like pieces just fall together.
Yeah.
As soon as you started explaining like that 6 + 6 is like where you can start your party and you can start your offense.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you said that, like immediately I went to, oh, that's why you want to sidestep, because it gets you there faster.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, okay. So things started really falling into place, and there have been so many moments, like even when we were just playing now, like that happened, that like is awesome. Like that's really really cool. So I super appreciate you taking the time to like A, explain that, and B, like, you know, be here and do all this and like get people to understand stuff, because you know I feel like there's such a weird stigma with teaching. Right, like I was a high school teacher for 4 years, and you know there's that saying like if you can't do, teach.
Right.
But that's like not a thing at all. So
Yeah, no, that's not the right analogy. But
so I'm super appreciative of you taking the time to. Yeah, no, I'm super appreciative of you taking the time and like giving myself and others like so many resources to like get into this, because honestly, man, like now that I've played this, and I'm really sad the beta ends today, but you know, as soon as it comes back, I'm probably going to be hopping on it and grinding out a lot of it. Especially, I have like this giant notebook written of stuff now that I'm going to be looking at over the next couple of days, just to like help retain this information. So
I think most VF players
give me
have
a couple
notes.
years, I'll be fighting with you.
Almost everyone has notes. I would not worry about that. That's a real thing. If you catch one of my labbing streams, I'm like currently like recreating the combo lists for like Akira, and later I'm going to do Aoi because I'm learning her as well. And it's like it's a lot of work to actually lab out which combos you should use on which characters. It's not been something that everyone has to do, because virtuafighter.com has had like a comprehensive combo list for years, but there's been a balance change, which included weight shifting, and a bunch of moves now are usable in combos when they didn't used to. Akira's shoulder was buffed, so it's now usable in juggles. So a handful of his combos have now changed that need to incorporate it, but then you have to test it on Eileen, and then test it on Lao, and then test it on Taka. So The balance change has been fairly significant in refreshing this game in the eyes of the experienced players. And I don't even count myself in that. Even just like the 10+ year masters like Homestay Akira in Japan and some of the other ones, they are hard at work labbing this game right now, because even they recognize that it's a whole new world out there. So I want to point out that if you're new to Virtua Fighter, it seemed like the hard part is learning the mechanics. Once you've learned the mechanics, you spend a lot of time getting better. Everything after that is about getting better and optimizing, getting a little faster, getting a little better, and that feeling just doesn't really stop as long as you keep playing and continuously like challenge yourself with better and better players. And the US Virtua Fighter community in particular has been extremely welcoming to me the entire time I've been there. Very helpful. Mainstays like Harpooneer and Tricky got me into the scene, made me visit New York City a few times and participate with them, have a slice of pizza with them, ride the train with them. Really, Virtua Fighter has like done a lot for me in like appreciating what fighting games can mean like on a community level, and that's because the VF scene is so awesome. So I just want to point out, if you ever need help with VF, there's other people that are knowledgeable like me. Join the Virtua Fighter Discord. I'm going to put the link up in my chat right here. But like, there's plenty of people in there all the time talking about strategy, who can connect you to like high-level match footage of various characters. A lot of people in there who can explain like what you should be doing next, characters to learn, and so on. So the community element of this game is in a great position, because there have been so many of us that have been dedicated to the game for the past many years. Like, we are ready for Revo. Akai's got the leagues. I'm working on these videos. Virtua Kazama is probably going to start doing his bi-weekly tournament series again once the game is out. And then, of course, we just need to look into events like EVO and stuff. EVO Japan is already locked because the VFR Cup Beat Tribe is going to happen. That's a premier arcade team tournament. But this time it's going to be on the PC version of Revo. So really, there is absolutely no better time to get into Virtua Fighter. All the resources, both on like video and community resources, are available to you. So just don't be shy, because there's tons of people that are willing to help out right now. Absolutely.
For sure. And I think a big lesson that I've learned, and I think is kind of a proponent of what we've done here, is like, don't ever be afraid to ask.
Right.
Like, I just messaged Juicebox. I was like, hey, I want to do this. Would you be interested? He's like, yeah.
Why not? Let's go.
And I know there's like so much, there's so much anxiety about like asking or about like reaching out. and I think for me, like, that's a huge challenge. And I'm sharing this in hopes that others who struggle with that also like can overcome that. Because at the end of the day, like, if things didn't work out, like, the most that would have happened is Juicebox would have said no, right?
Yeah.
So, but here we are. Like, we got like 3 hours of to me, like, this was super duper valuable, and now, like, you know, I'm serious. Like, call Sega and get your commission, because I'm in. I'm gonna be grinding this game from now on.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that. All right. I mean, we'll probably both throw this up on our YouTubes or whatever it is, and so we'll be able to archive this and keep it up for other people who are curious about. You know, this was a very off the cuff, back and forth between different topics sort of teaching of the game, and there's already another good one, again, the Dandy J tutorial that's on YouTube. But over time it's just going to get easier and easier to learn this game and connect with the community. Until then, if you're hungry for knowledge right now. But yeah, the future is looking bright for VF. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad that you asked, because I've been looking for more things to do with regards to this. But now I gotta keep my face in that DaVinci, and just because that's gonna be what I'll be doing for the next few weeks. But yeah, to everyone,
the content creator struggle, right?
Oh yeah, it's all manual at this point. I ain't got no editor. It's just me. Everyone in the chat, thanks for watching. I hope that this has been like educational and like useful for you. But yeah, I think we've covered sort of all the bases.
Yeah, no, my whole goal with this was to get a baseline understanding of like how the game works, and I think that's exactly what we got, right? Like, just you like teaching me about like how to get an offense, like get the offensive party started, and how to utilize evades and sidesteps and such, like that, like just that alone I think is like a huge deal, just to get people in the right mindset moving forward. So that's what I'm going to be working on as soon as this comes out. So
okay, awesome.
Can't wait for it, man. Give me a couple years, I'll be up there, not with the best of them, but with the kind of okay of them.
Absolutely. And think about, go watch a match video now. Like, go watch some good players, and your entire mindset is going to change. Go watch a good Shundi and be like, oh, that's what that move is for. Oh, he got 2 drinks because he landed that launch. Oh, damn, he did the back to, oh, okay. Like, your brain's going to explode now when you go watch a good Shundi player. If you need like a few links for like good footage, let me know. I can get you hooked up. But like, yeah, it's yeah, I'm excited to see what you do. Like, I'm always happy to like help people on their journey and like get better at this game in particular. I just think it's so important that people can understand and appreciate VF, because it really is unique. It's not just this old, amazing, innovative series. It's also still today in the modern age, a unique and worthwhile fighting game that really challenges you. And I think that that's the part of the game that people don't understand, or they don't know it deep down in their heart like I do. And I hope that you do too, like now. Like, it's just so, it's so critically important that people understand that VF is still doing unique things. And that makes the future of VF way more exciting. Just knowing what these crazy, amazing, creative people will be able to do with the future of the series. I'm excited for that too. Oh, man. Woo, no, I'm tired now.
Here's what we can do. Now it's when this game comes out, we'll get back together again and do a checkup.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
Yeah, we'll do a checkup, and then we can hopefully move up from there, and then we'll keep doing checkups and check-ins, and then we'll both be Virtual Fighter champions. You
All
first.
Right. All right.
Actually, you're probably going to be the Virtual Fighter champion. I'll probably just be a pool monster.
I'll give it a shot. I'll give it my best shot. But yeah, thanks for the vote of confidence, though. I still got a lot to work on. Woo. But yeah, I guess that's the end of the show.
Yeah, now you have to do well, so I look good.
That's my teacher. It's my teacher. Yeah. Oh man.
No, yeah, but I'll hop off here and say goodbye to my stream, and I'll let you say goodbye to yours. But once again, dude, I super appreciate you taking the time and hanging out with me today, man. This has been so cool, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again soon. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.
Yep, until next time, man. Thank you.
Take care.
Peace out.
Woo, that was fun. Okay. Thanks everyone for watching the stream up to this point. I'm really tired. I need to have some dinner and take care of a few other things. Thanks so much for joining. It's been a lot of fun. I'll probably throw this up on YouTube. This was a lot of information. This is not a good tutorial, but it's also, if someone has a couple hours to kill and watch it, I guess that'll be fine. But yeah, we'll throw this on the pile. I got to work on my short tutorial videos next. But yeah, thanks so much for being here. It was a blast working with him. And yeah, I guess that's it for now. Again, follow the links. Join the Virtua Fighter community on Discord. I'm in there all the time, and there's other people to learn the game from. And what is today? What is today? It's Tuesday. Oh yeah, I have the next 2 days off. Hell yeah. I may or may not stream again tomorrow. Depends how I feel. I might be working on videos all day, but we'll see how it goes. Thanks again for tuning in, everyone. I really appreciate this opportunity to show off some VF. And I will see you all next time. Take care, everybody.
Round 1.